We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Chris Raunchy, Amy Mark Scores, The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
What's up, kids? It is the Chris and Amy Show. That's right. And we are with you until 12 o'clock today. Then it's the Gas House Gang with Bernie and me. Amy Mark Scores, Chris Raunchy, and a fantastic, what a lovely, lovely St. Louis day it is today. 314-436-7900 to join the show by calling and texting voice messages. You can leave those from the Odyssey app. It is really, really easy to use it. So if you've got the app downloaded to your phone, you know, listening to the station or listening to the podcasts or the Cardinals game, there's that button right there that says leave a message. You just tap it, record your message, and send it, and maybe we will play it on the air. You can also watch the show if you feel like it on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. We are on Twitter at Chris Amy KMOX.
Time now for the top of the order. The top three stories everyone will be talking about.
As we have told you, there is a proposal by the city of St. Louis on how to allocate $250 million of that Rams settlement money, and that is expected to go public, the bill anyway, within minutes, if it hasn't already.
And President Trump is meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in China. We will get the update from CBS Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett.
Cardinals have the finale of the series against the A's today. It is an afternoon game, and they've split the series so far. So it's what they call the rubber match. 1:10 for the pregame, 2:05 first pitch today. Also, City SC with a Wednesday night game, and they won last night. Robbie Avilar, our guy, he delivered the match ball. Do they call it the match ball or the game ball?
Match ball.
It's the
they
match
don't call
ball.
it a game.
Ollie Marmol did a couple of weeks ago. He brought Descalso and John Jay with him. And then Robbie brought it out last night. City won 2-1. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know what's going to be a whole lot of fun is when the city and our city of St. Louis, not City SC, but when they tell us how they want to spend that $250 million in an official bill that is supposed to be released today. Our very own Sean Malone is covering it. And again, that's scheduled to happen like now.
Yeah, 9 o'clock.
So we will talk to Sean Malone at 11:30 about that. But, you know, I guess we're moving closer to having some sort of finality on that because we've been wondering how they're going to spend this money, and there's a lot of pushback against the city about what they want to do with it or what they're proposing to do with it. And here's what I do know. I don't know how it's going to go over in the end, but what I do know is I did not expect this to be done cleanly. I expected it to be messy. I expected that no matter what they determined would happen with the cash, that some people were going to be unhappy about it, no matter what, right? So this is, and that's what we talked about all week this week and last week, how they just, nobody can seem to agree on how that windfall of cash should be spent.
Yeah. And it's been going on a long time, obviously. There have been discussions and consultants and surveys, and a big focus has been on public safety. Yes, we agree with that. But then when the tornado hit, it injected a new urgency into the areas that were hit the hardest, like North St. Louis. And we talked about the damage that was done in North City and the people who lost their homes. We also talked about how there are upwards of 1,000, 1,500 homes that may need to be demolished. And in fact, the city has already marked about, I think, 120 to knock down. And about 74% of those were condemned or abandoned before the tornado hit. So when you're looking at knocking down these buildings in North City, the buildings that can't be saved, the homes that can't be saved, some of them were damaged by the tornado, some of them were not. But I think what we're seeing here is so much of that money, people wanted it to go to North City. A lot of people do. People, advocating for the area, wanted that money to go to North City. And now with the tornado hitting that area, I would hope it would take some of the politics and argument out of it and say, listen, we got to revitalize North City. We wanted some of this money to go there anyway. Now that the tornadoes hit it, we've got the urgency, we've got the focus to put aside more petty arguments and just start taking care of that part of the city and helping the people whose homes were destroyed by the tornado. And I know there's a lot of grumbling. You don't have to ignore downtown. There's still money allotted for downtown, $55 million for downtown improvements, according to this plan, which will be matched by private businesses, which is why I think you would be silly not to put any of it downtown. You got to put some of it downtown. But maybe this gives the leaders in the city at least some urgency to take action.
You're right. It should remove the politics from it. But I think if we are, based on the interaction we got from listeners on the first day that we talked about this, and they want to use $110 million, or at least that was what we heard.
Proposal.
Yeah, the initial proposal. And what we are hearing now is that the bill being released today does not veer too much from what they were proposing days ago. But if there is any way to illustrate what we're talking about here, I think the reaction we got from people when we were talking about this is essentially, well, insurance should pay for all of that. We shouldn't be spending any of this money on the north side. That should be all insurance money from people who lost their homes. And, we reiterated the fact or the reality that a lot of people who lived there did not have insurance. And there were a lot of complications because some of those homes were passed down from generation to generation. There's lack of paperwork. There's just all kinds of stuff that's going on there. You don't have
a deed, a title. You don't have that paperwork. Yeah. Not only can you not get insurance, but it makes it really difficult to get federal relief money. I mean, Every step of the process is complicated because, again, let's say it was your grandmother who passed down that house. These are older homes. And you've been keeping up the house. You've been living in the house, but you don't have the title for it. You're the grandson. All you know is that, this was your house that was passed down. That makes things so complicated and almost impossible when it comes to insurance or FEMA and federal funds.
But you saw the reaction we were getting from people, and it was almost universal in why should I have to pay homeowners insurance in case something happens to my home, like a tornado comes through? Insurance should take care of that. So why should the north side get all that money? All the Rams money. That's not what that's supposed to be for. But I guess I would argue, and I get that. I think that is a valid question. Like, why should that happen? Because otherwise, if my home had been destroyed, Rams settlement money wouldn't be paying for it. And I get that. Okay.
Like you feel like a doofus. Like, hey, why did I pay for insurance all these years?
Which is fair, but I think if you take the 30,000-foot view and understand that the north side of St. Louis also needs a ton of investment regardless of the tornado, and it is the victim of decades and decades of disinvestment, and that's one of the reasons why it's not thriving like it used to 100 years ago, right? So I think part of fixing our city's problems is not just downtown, but even though it is the centerpiece, and we say it all the time on this show, and I stick by that, I think that is true, because it is the doorstep to your region. And so we need to have a strong, inviting, a thriving downtown in order to help the entire region. Because if you look at any great metropolitan area, with the exception of maybe Los Angeles, because LA is kind of weird. LA doesn't, it has a downtown, but that's not the center of its world, right? I mean, Hollywood is kind of it, I suppose, or Beverly Hills, places like that. It just, LA is a different place, but New York, Boston, Chicago, some of the great cities that we have in the country, they all have amazing downtowns. And so that's what, I will never abandon that. I think that is number one. However, maybe 1B is what we do with the north side of the city. And the fact that there just has been a lack of investment in that area for such a long time also contributes to massive problems we have now.
And it used to be such a beautiful part of our city. The architecture in North City is incredible. It's absolutely gorgeous. And some buildings can be saved. A lot of buildings cannot. And like you said, at some point you're looking at the city like what's good for the goose is good for the gander type thing. A rising tide, lifts all ships. Whatever cliche you want to use, there is an element to that. And I do think it does benefit the city to invest in and help develop and grow North City, but not at the complete expense of downtown or infrastructure and water and so forth. You can't abandon those things. So yes, you're going to split the pot. And with any program, we've seen this at the city level, the state level, and the federal level. When you're trying to invest, provide some type of funding, some type of aid, some type of development, yes, you're going to see abuse. What it comes down to is how well are you going to execute this plan? Because we saw abuse with PPP loans. We saw abuse during COVID. We saw abuse when there was necessary help from the government. And yes, as long as there are people, there's going to be abuse.
Of course, there are always cases of it.
So how do you
always
execute it in a way to help limit the abuse? We talked about this with the previous administration and the North City Development Program with Tashara Jones. That was rife with abuse. That was not executed well. There was no accountability with how this money was being allocated. So the goal here now is we need to invest in North City, but we also need to do it in a way that is going to hold people accountable and try to limit the amount of wasted funds.
And the old cliche, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, because I feel like we do this every time there's need for a massive amount of money. There's always somebody that pushes back and says, well, what about this person who's going to abuse the system? And because 1% or 2% of people are going to abuse the system, let's just not do any of it, which is ridiculous. I mean, to me, it's the same as like SNAP benefits or stuff like that. You will find people who abuse the system. And so the reaction is, well, let's just get rid of it altogether, when there are like 98% of people who desperately need it. And I think it's the same sort of mindset here.
As long as you can have a fair conversation about restrictions and regulations, because we've had those with SNAP benefits, but I think you need to have that when you're looking at North City development as well. Okay, I want to hear from the people on this as well. 314-436-7900, because this looks at the Rams money too. Was it this week or last week? It was this week. It was Monday. The Board of Police Commissioners filed a lawsuit against the city.
Yeah, we discussed it on Monday.
Yep, claiming that the city's budget resulted in an underpayment and that it did not include Rams settlement funds or city reserves when calculating the police budget. Why does this matter? Well, because a certain percentage of the city's general revenue needs to go to public safety and law enforcement, the police, right? And I agree. I want to throw more money at police and public safety, absolutely. But the police Board of Commissioners is saying, well, general revenue, that umbrella includes the millions and millions and millions of dollars from the Rams settlement money, as well as the city's reserve. And Mayor Kara Spencer said, absolutely not. It does not include the city's reserve and the Rams settlement money. That's not general revenue. That's a special batch of money.
Yeah, it's a very unusual thing that most cities don't get.
It's not an ongoing revenue source. You can give people raises with it, but then it's going to dry up. And again, I could make arguments on both sides of this. I really could. My gut feeling is I'm not sure that the Rams settlement money counts as general revenue.
Well, see, I agree with you.
It almost feels like it's what we call special money.
Yeah.
And that special money goes to extra projects that we can't afford with our general revenue. I could see arguments on both sides, but that's my gut reaction.
I don't think it should go to salaries that need to be permanent, because it is not permanent money. This is a one-time bit of cash, pot of cash that we have. And if we use it to increase salaries for city employees, regardless of who they are, what happens when the money's gone? Because it has to be perpetual. It has to be something that is sustainable, and that's not what this Rams money is. We'll find out more about the details of the bill, what happens moving forward. Sean Malone will join us at 11:30 to tell us, because that meeting is happening right now. And so we will find out more about that at 11:30. Glad you're with us. You can text into the show or call in 314-436-7900 on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The smartest way to do your homework is Hackman Lumber.
Thinking about building a new deck? Start with the deck experts at Hackman Lumber, home of one of the largest inventories of decking materials and accessories in Missouri. From treated lumber and cedar to all the leading names in decking, their experts will help you choose the perfect materials for your dream deck. Then finish it off with endless railing options, balusters, and LED deck lighting to bring your backyard to life. Hackman Lumber will not be undersold on in-stock decking materials, guaranteed. Do it yourself? Their team is ready with expert advice. Need help from a pro? They can connect you with trusted local contractors. Also, check out their expanding paint department with custom color matching. And don't forget, follow Hackman Lumber on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to catch weekly deal specials and project inspiration all season long. Or visit us at hackmanstl.com. Locations in St. Peters, Troy, and Pacific, Missouri.
Welcome to Radio Rental. The scariest stories you've ever heard in your life. All told by real people. And off we go.
This wasn't a human being that I saw. There's something here in this house, something not of this world.
There was a woman moving through the hall. I stepped back and I was completely alone.
Radio Rental is available now. Listen for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're struggling to hear conversations, TV, or the people you love, now there's an easier, more affordable solution without spending thousands. Audion Hearing makes high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98, with free shipping and dedicated one-on-one support in the comfort of your own home. No doctor's offices, no pressure. Clearer hearing delivered right to your door. Join over 1 million happy customers hearing life more clearly. Visit audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Road trip through America's musical past as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra teams up with the sensational doo-wop project for a night of vintage soul and seamless harmonies. Experience the iconic sounds that shaped American music through the evolution of doo-wop, including favorites like Sherry and Walk Like a Man, along with doo-wopified renditions of modern hits and more. Buckle up for a feel-good celebration that brings generations together, featuring the doo-wop project and your St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. Saturday, May 30th at Powell Hall. Tickets on sale now at slso.org.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
100 years, one legendary voice. We live KMOX's century of service, classic audio, photos, videos, and more at KMOX100.com.
As always, we want to hear from you at 314-436-7900. We were talking about the official release of the bill proposing on how the city should spend the $250 million in Rams settlement money. It's going on as we speak. KMOX reporter Sean Malone is at City Hall getting all the details. We hope to speak with him later this morning. But we did have a texter ask about the money, saying, well, wait a minute, didn't the city get $700 million from the Rams settlement money? And so how much has been spent already? But no, the total settlement, just a reminder, because it's been a while and it's also been confusing because we've thrown in ARPA numbers and other funding and so forth. But the Rams settlement money was over $700 million. $280 million went to the city of St. Louis. But of that $280, $30 million had to go to expand the dome at America's Center. So the city gets $250 million. None of that has been spent yet.
That was part of the settlement.
St. Louis County gets $169 million. The St. Louis Regional Convention and Sports Authority got $70 million. And the lawyers got $275 million. They got over 30% of that settlement. So that's all the money. It's gone. It's amazing how quickly over $700 million disappears.
That's why.
It's wild.
Well, and I said this when we really got into it earlier in the week, that money is really, I mean, yes, $250 million is a lot of cash, but when you put it up against what the city actually needs, it's not that much money. I mean, a $700 million settlement seems like, wow, that's great. We could do a lot of good things with $700 million, but it goes very, very quickly, and it's really hard for it to be transformative, which is kind of what we were hoping for. We were hoping that it would be a transformative windfall, but I don't even think it's possible for that to happen for a city of this size. We need a lot more money than that. I mean, we are talking, in order for St. Louis, not just downtown, but North Side and all the areas that need investment, we're talking about billions. We're not talking about a couple of $100 million doing the trick. We need billions of dollars, and that's going to be over the course of time. That's kind of where we are right now. So I think to put that in perspective is really important, because when we were talking about the Rams money initially, when it first happened years ago, that was our thought, like, oh, wow, we're going to be able to do so much with this. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there are things you can do, but it's going to go away very, very quickly. And it's really possible that when it is all spent, we'll look up 5-10 years from now and go, what do we get for all that money? What's here? Because it's just such a small drop in the bucket of what St. Louis actually needs.
I think there were these grandiose ideas of it being transformative in a way that goes above and beyond. And I think that is not what we should be looking at, in the sense that there is a certain standard or stasis that we need to expect. And it looks like it's going to take all that money to get us to there. You know, when you think of transformative, you think, hey, our streets are great, our city's great, our police are well-funded, public safety is rolling along, the water infrastructure, but look at this windfall we got. Let's do something spectacular that normally a city wouldn't be able to do. That's not the position we're in. We are way short on money to fix the water infrastructure. We could put all the money towards water and it would be a drop in the bucket, no pun intended, right? We were behind when it came to redeveloping North St. Louis, and the tornado knocked us even further behind. Like we said, of the 120 homes currently marked for demolition, 74% were already condemned or abandoned before the tornado.
Yes.
So the tornado set us back even further. So for me, this money is not transformative in the sense that it takes you above and beyond what a city could normally do. It's transformative in the sense that it's going to get us maybe a little bit from behind the 8 ball. We're behind the 8 ball, and we got to get out from behind the 8 ball. And that is why maybe if you were devil's advocate for the police saying that the Rams settlement money should count as general revenue, is that this money is now being allocated to help the city pay for and do things it should have been doing in the first place with general revenue, but didn't have the capacity to do it. And that's why I could see you could maybe make that argument with the police is, listen, this money is not doing something spectacular and new. It is, we are just trying to do what we should have been doing in the first place.
A message from a listener asks that question. It says, I can't get my head around that. It would be like saying, I won a scratch off for $10,000. I'm going to get a new house because it's like I got a raise. They are increasing their bills based on a one-time event. And that's what I'm talking about. Because, we can start hiring more police officers or giving them more money, raising their salary, but that money goes away. So what happens in however many years it would take for that money to dry up? Then what? Are we just hoping? Are we hoping that we have more revenue 5 or 10 years from now?
Well, some of it is interest, and that's a great analogy. So, like, let's say all your bills are paid, and you get this windfall of money. Yeah, go buy a boat, go buy a second house. But let's say you are in debt, and you are way behind on your mortgage, and you are way behind on your electricity and your water bill. If you get this windfall, the first thing you need to do is pay those bills. And I think that's the strongest argument the police have.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't think it's the same. We don't have enough time to really get into it because we do need to take a break. But I don't want anything done with the money that's not actually sustainable. Something that we can keep doing in perpetuity after the fact. Chris and Amy on KMOX. Good to have you with us today. And we know that there has been a recent spike in psychiatry or psychiatric medication, people with anxiety, depression, and that sort of thing. And we're going to talk to somebody about that. A psychologist and research fellow at the Cato Institute, Dr. Adam Omari is with us when we come back on KMOX.
It's not really a sports show. It's just a show.
So I don't really have a sports show, but I love the Cardinals. I am born and bred St. Louis, went to my first game like so many of you, 4 years old. Couldn't believe how green it was standing there next to the players with my dad, and now I go with my kids. You get it. So when you listen to the DGS, it's going to be a slice of life happy hour, but we're always going to talk Cardinals.
The Dave Glover Show at 1. Then stick around for Cardinals baseball.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I was just at Staples. They're having a huge 40th anniversary sale.
40 years. Note to self, send flowers.
Up to 50% off. Save on chairs, paper, balloons, and more.
Balloons?
Yeah, Party City is now at Staples.
Surprise!
But the anniversary sale is only 2 weeks, so...
Quick, celebrate 40 years of savings at Staples with up to 50% off. Shop chairs, paper, break room supplies, and more. 2 weeks only. It's 5/23.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or on the app.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Beautiful today, 63 degrees, sunny to partly cloudy, and pleasant all day long, 76 for the high. Tonight, mainly clear, maybe a thunderstorm in the morning, a low of 58.
Brought to you by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com. Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. Before you packed your child off to college, did you get a power of attorney for them? Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
Let's talk about Air Medical memberships. In an emergency, you don't choose who transports you. Dispatch sends the closest, most appropriate aircraft. Here's what matters: speed, skill, advanced care. Like critical care crews trained for the toughest moments. Like onboard blood that can make the difference between life and death. Arch Air Medical Service delivers life-saving air medical care across Effingham and surrounding communities. When you call for help, we bring hospital-level care to you. Plus, we're part of Air Methods, the nation's largest air medical provider. And about the cost, the No Surprises Act protects patients with private health insurance from unexpected out-of-network air ambulance bills. You're only responsible for your in-network copay, coinsurance, or deductible. Medicare and Medicaid patients have similar protections. No surprise bills, no balance billing, no membership required. Because when it's your life on the line, what matters isn't membership, it's medicine. Learn more at airmethods.com. Copays, coinsurance, and deductibles are set by insurance providers, not Air Methods. Terms and costs may vary. Contact your insurer for details.
Hey guys, Glover here with my good friend John Moriarty. John and I have been friends and business partners for years now. He is the principal at E3 Consultant Group, and he is back in the DGS fold. So John, introduce yourself to the listeners.
I am so happy to be back and also happy to talk about our firm, E3. We have over 70 advisors, Dave, now in multiple cities, working with our clients on the wealth, tax, insurance, asset protection, business consulting side. One of my biggest passions right now is working with business owners and trying to help them reduce their tax liability, improve their cash flow for future generations.
I've known John for years and years and years now. John is a good guy, very smart, excellent pitcher in baseball. That means a lot to me. You have
those days are long gone.
You have a new book out.
We do have a new book out. It's called The Entrepreneur Playbook, written for business owners that have an entrepreneurial mindset. And the book should be dropping on Amazon probably in the next 30 days. And we've got white papers that are supporting it. A lot of that information is going to be on our website at e3wealth.com. But the key thing to me, Dave, is we try to keep creating educational tools for business owners, individuals, families, so that they can protect the purpose of their money.
So whether you are interested in classic personal retirement, business growth, or just an overall tax strategy, reach out to my friend John at e3wealth.com.
In St. Louis, the weather can change in an instant. Stay prepared for whatever Mother Nature throws your way. When weather threatens, the KMOX Storm Center has expert forecasts and live reports here to keep you safe and informed. Don't get caught off guard. Know your weather. Sponsored by
Saliga Heating and Cooling.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Chris and Amy on KMOX until 12 o'clock today. Then it is the Gas House Gang. As we mentioned before we went to break, you or somebody you know, in fact, would be certain that many people you know, some of them are on some sort of psychiatric medication, whether it's for ADHD or whether it is for depression or anything of the sort. And the numbers for drugs like that being prescribed for children is on the rise as well. And to talk about where we are in terms of psychiatric medication and what it means for the country, we are joined by Dr. Adam Omari, psychologist and research fellow at the Cato Institute, with us now on KMOX. Dr. Omari, it's good to talk to you. How are you?
Chris and Amy, great to be back with you.
So, as a country now, in terms of these types of medications, whether it's for any of the disorders we are talking about, depression, ADHD, so on and so forth, where are we in terms of prescriptions now versus where we were 5 or 10 years ago?
15 to 20% of Americans, that's tens of millions of adults, are now on psych meds. In kids, the number even higher. 30% of American college students are on psych meds. And just 20 years ago, the numbers were less than 10%. That's millions of kids, tens of millions of adults.
You note that, yes, in some cases, those numbers jump up because there's more awareness and people are talking about it as well. But a lot of that surge can be explained by what you say is a broadening of the American Psychiatric Association's diagnostic criteria and financial incentives for diagnosing more. And you bring up the Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act of 2008. Can you kind of flesh that out, how that act helped spike these diagnoses?
What the Mental Health Parity Act did is it required insurance companies to cover mental health care as an essential service like other physical medical care, surgical care. Prior to that, it wasn't considered an essential service, so insurances didn't have to provide mental health coverage. So this was a good thing in terms of expanding access, but what it also does is it creates greater incentive to provide mental health care and overdiagnose even when it's not necessarily needed. And exactly what you'd predict in the last few decades, as these incentives have opened up, suddenly we see more than doubling, more than tripling of psychiatric diagnoses across virtually every category, especially in children.
Is it necessarily wrong, though, or is it a situation where we say, well, 20 years ago, all these kids weren't being diagnosed with this disorder or that, or adults weren't either. But could it be that, well, now we just know more about it. We know what to call it. We know how to diagnose it and to treat it. How do you find the balance between those two things?
That's a very common explanation. People will say, the number of diagnoses are rising because we have better screening tools. We're catching more subtle cases. Well, according to the NIH, 50% of American adolescents have met criteria for mental illness. 50% of our population is not mentally ill. If you have 50% or even 20 or 30% meeting diagnostic criteria, I think that's pretty clear that the diagnostic criteria have broadened to such a degree that we're pathologizing normal behavior, normal difficulty. There's no objective cutoff between ordinary worry and clinical anxiety. There's no objective cutoff between ordinary sadness or grief and clinical depression. Most people have experienced some level of depression, anxiety, other mental struggles. That doesn't mean that they deserve a clinical diagnosis.
Yeah, that is what's so interesting, what you said about pathologizing normal struggles, because for all of us, being an adolescent is going to be hard in one way or another. It can be confusing. Your hormones are going crazy. I know, especially for girls, you're starting, your menstrual cycle for the first time. Your hormones go insane and you cry a lot. You don't know what's going on. We have hard times in life. Also, with pathologizing every quirk, I feel like we've lost the ability for some people just to be quirky, and everything tends to be a diagnosis because, like you said, it's more subjective than objective data that you can collect.
Right. People often have this intuition, including mental health providers themselves, that, well, it's a good thing to expand access, and worst case, even if we have some false positives, that's better than the reverse. That's better than not providing enough care. But people often forget that a diagnosis isn't just a neutral thing. A diagnosis also has some downsides, especially for kids who have quirky behavior or social difficulties that internalize it as something is wrong with them, instead of these are ordinary struggles and you can push through it and you can develop adaptive social skills or adaptive behaviors to help improve your mental health. Of course, for some people, a diagnosis really can help. For some people, medication really can help. But I worry about these numbers when we're seeing 30% of kids on psych meds, 50% meeting mental illness criteria. We're talking about millions of children, and we don't understand the long-term side effects of these medications on brain development.
Psychologist Dr. Adam Omari is with us. And that 50% number, the study, if I have it correct, the conclusion was that it's 50% of people at some point in their lifetimes, not 50% all at once. It's not half the country right now would qualify for a mental disorder of some kind. It's just that at some point it's going to hit you. Does that necessarily mean, though, that all of those people will be prescribed medicine?
50% at one point in their lives, yes. At any given time, NIH and CDC report 20 to 30% of young people, 15 to 20% of adults are actively experiencing mental illness, which is already high. But again, when you see these numbers of at some point, if half of us will develop clinically significant depression or anxiety or other difficulties, that's just part of life. That's not clinical pathology. And in terms of the percent of those that go on psychiatric medication, it is a minority. And many people who go on medication benefit from that medication. But 30% of college students are now on psych meds.
So what would you
not to look at that as overdiagnosis?
Sure. What would you say the more rational number would be? If it's 30% on some sort of medication, what should it be? 5, 10, 15?
It's going to be pegged to what the overall rate of mental health disorder is. So if we're talking about a disorder like ADHD, where many children can benefit from stimulants like Adderall that help them focus, you're going to see higher rates of prescription. If we're talking about treatment-resistant depression that won't go away with therapy or lifestyle interventions, then antidepressants like SSRIs can make sense. But it should be a last resort. So just as a rough ballpark number, I would be surprised to see any scientific rationale for more than 10% of the population needing to be on psych meds.
You know, I get it. People come at me that it's anecdotal, but this is close to my heart because I homeschooled and I was a tutor and I worked with kids, a lot of kids too, who were the go-to for the school was just to prescribe the medication rather than, maybe the parents don't have the resources to have a tutor, but I could sit with those kids and we could talk through things and they didn't need to be prescribed medicine. Or I have friends who, man, it's so difficult. They have 8, 9, 10-year-old boys who, they struggle with sitting in a classroom for 8, 9 hours a day. So they're trying to weigh now, like, well, they're being, suggested that they take ADHD medicine. And I'm thinking, isn't that just an 8-year-old boy who doesn't want to sit behind a desk for 8 hours a day?
We're absolutely not meant to sit still for 8 hours a day, especially as children and especially as boys. So I do worry when people label ordinary behavior as hyperactivity, and the first response is to prescribe medication to remedy that behavior. Again, we don't understand the long-term side effects on brain development. Many people do experience side effects from long-term psychiatric medication. Again, that's not to say that many people don't benefit from it. Many people do benefit from it. Interesting thing is the American Psychiatric Association doesn't officially recognize withdrawal symptoms for many psych medications. They instead refer to discontinuation syndrome because withdrawal sounds scary. Withdrawal sounds like addiction. Discontinuation syndrome is the moniker that they use to instead describe a lot of the side effects. But ultimately, if you're experiencing mood effects or neurological injury due to psych medication, whether we're labeling it withdrawal or discontinuation syndrome, doesn't change the problems that the patient is experiencing.
There should be, though, I think, I'm asking you, in order to treat some of these disorders or whatever somebody might be going through on a temporary basis or permanently, you do recommend that therapy is good for people, yes?
Therapy is effective for many people. Medication is effective for many people. I'm a research psychologist and a neuroscientist. I don't see patients. I don't prescribe medication. I'm just looking at the data and looking at the evidence basis and the long-term outcomes according to the clinical research that's been done. And we are certainly in a state of overdiagnosis and overprescription looking at these numbers.
Dr. Adam Omari, psychologist and research fellow at the Cato Institute. We appreciate your time. Thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you, Chris and Amy.
The Health Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., you may have heard of him. He does have an initiative that he announced last week to try and reduce some of the what he believes is overprescribing of some of these psychiatric medications. And I don't doubt that happens. I would like to know precise numbers about how many people are receiving drugs that shouldn't.
Well, I think
that would be an important number to know. And it's probably difficult to know that, but I think it is important because I know medicine does help a lot of people and therapy helps a lot of people too.
Yeah, but I think that's obviously Dr. Omari is saying that's what he does is looking at the data. And because it is not like you can't get a biopsy for mental illness or for depression, that number, it's going to just have to be a ballpark number because it is subjective to a point, and there's also self-reporting, and everybody's life circumstances are different. So I don't think you can look at micro trends. You almost have to look at the macro trend, and say, this is not right if 50% of adults qualify at one point for a mental illness or 30% of college students. You just have to recognize that the macro trends are too big.
We have Cardinals baseball this afternoon. 1:10 for the pregame show, 2:05 for the first pitch from Sacramento. You're probably thinking, Sacramento, what team is there? Well, the Oakland A's are. They're no longer the Oakland A's. They're allowed to move. because the league is stupid. We are taking you up until that point. 1:10 pregame show today. The Gas House Gang actually starts at 12, so we'll have that for you. Lots of baseball talk happening starting at noon on 104.1 FM KMOX.
You know, here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Lederman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine, and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Lederman Law Firm at LedermanLaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Cards and Cubs. The rivalry returns to Busch May 29th. KMOX kicks off the weekend early when Tom Ackerman hosts a Redbird Roundtable featuring Ozzie Smith, Al Raboski, and Matt Adams Thursday, May 28th at the Beer Garden at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. We're talking ball, enjoying a cold beer, and celebrating one of baseball's best rivalries. The doors open at 4:30. The Redbird Roundtable, Thursday, May 28th. Full event details are at KMOX.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready for a fresh start? The Excel Center in St. Louis is here to help you earn your high school diploma, tuition-free and on your schedule. With convenient locations in downtown St. Louis and Florissant, you can learn at your pace, with support every step of the way. Need childcare, career coaching, flexible classes? We've got you covered. Registration is now open. Don't wait to take the next step toward your future. Visit excel.mersgoodwill.org to enroll today. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
An important message from S&L Coins. S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L, 544-3600.
Save big money on everything at Menards. From hitches to ratchet straps and everything in between. We've got all your hauling needs covered. Smart Straps heavy-duty ratchet straps feature double hook ends and are built with high braking strength to handle the strain of cargo transport. Save big money on ratchet straps. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at
Chris Ranji, Amy Marks Kors. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX. Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
All right, I am increasingly getting stressed. George is getting upset about the Kevin O'Leary 40,000-acre data center in Utah.
He would do something obnoxious like that.
And so, I mean, you've talked about this. You brought it up because you were talking about the size of Manhattan.
40,000 acres is huge. It's
Yeah.
it's like 2 or 3 times the size of Manhattan.
So, and I'm going to Utah in a few weeks. And so I'm like, I should start asking people about it. But there have been protests from thousands of local residents. They are upset that the project will wreak havoc on the local environment and increase energy costs. And I read that the energy that will be used for this data center is like more than the entire state uses already. Like something insane. And O'Leary is saying, well, it will create 10,000 construction jobs and 2,000 permanent jobs. And, you know, we'll see. Business Insider said, more like 4,000 construction jobs over 10 to 15 years and about 1,300 permanent roles. So Business Insider is saying that Kevin O'Leary's numbers are inflated. And environmental...
Can you imagine the entire city of the entire borough of Manhattan?
No.
Having 1,300 workers in it?
No.
Just imagine there are 1,300 people employed in all of Manhattan.
Yeah. Environmentalists warn the facility that will require 9 gigawatts of power. 1.21 gigawatts. More than the entire state currently uses. Could destroy the Great Salt Lake ecosystem. And by the way, the Great Salt Lake is already kind of drying up. They're really worried about the drought that they're having in Utah. It also said that it could raise temperatures in the area by 5 degrees during the day and 28 degrees at night. This doesn't sound, Raj, this sounds awful, insane. Even if it doesn't bring up the temperatures 28 degrees at night, even if it only brings it up 5 degrees at night, that seems wrong. It seems bad. 1 degree makes a big difference.
Well, you already know how I feel about the heat. So I don't need a data center like that making it even hotter.
So this data center would use more than the entire state currently uses. Is it gigawatts or gigawatts?
I don't know.
Because in Back to the Future,
it's
gigawatts.
Well, I think
1.21 gigawatts.
You think Doc Brown didn't know?
Well, this is.
I bet the writers of Back to the Future just didn't know.
I think they knew. 9 gigawatts.
Did you see this story about, and I really hope this is true, Complex.com, you know that outlet, they write about a man who says that Claude, the Anthropic artificial intelligence program, helped him recover $400,000 in Bitcoin from a wallet that he has not been able to access for more than a decade because he changed his password while he was in college. He changed his password while he was high.
But wait, how did Claude know?
I don't know how you would use the prompts to be able to do it, but he says that after trying about 7 trillion passwords, Claude helped him upload the files from his college computer, and he was able to locate the Bitcoin.
Do you think
that's what this person is claiming happened?
Don't you think that's the best "Don't Do Drugs" commercial ever?
Don't do...
I changed my password while I was high.
Do nothing at all while you are high or drunk, ever. Don't make any decisions. Don't make any purchases. Don't call anybody. Don't text anybody.
Can I say this real quick? A guy was running in just a leopard print thong Speedo, the Chicago Marathon, and painted on his back it said, "Never drink and make bets."
That's correct. He's 100% right. When we come back, we'll talk Cardinals with Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech. Sponsored by Wesley Financial.
Apple is considering diversifying its chip supply chain by enlisting the help of Intel and Samsung. Bloomberg reports Apple has been talking with the companies about manufacturing Apple's custom processors for iPhones and Macs in the U.S., which would provide another source beyond Apple's longtime partner, Taiwan Semiconductor. Intel operates 4 advanced semiconductor plants in Chandler, Arizona. I'm Jason Brooks.
Earn an accredited MBA in as few as 16 months for about $21K at University of Maryland Global Campus. Explore 10 specializations, including finance, HR, cyber technology, and more. Plus, showcase the value of your MBA with a comprehensive learner record and digitally demonstrate in-demand skills and credentials to employers. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by SCHEV.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's going on 10:01. We've got sunshine, 62 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. A 27-year-old father of 2 is being charged with first-degree endangering the welfare of a child after leaving his gun out, and his 3-year-old picked up the gun and shot himself in the head. The child died. Florissant police say Jordan Burns was at his mother's apartment Tuesday, had been drinking, and left his gun where it was easily accessible to his 2- and 3-year-olds. Burns was due in court this morning. A prolific live streamer is facing criminal charges.
Dalton Etherly is facing charges including attempted murder in connection with a shooting outside a courthouse in Clarksville, Tennessee. The 28-year-old goes by the name Chud the Builder and live streams himself saying racially derogatory things to black people in public settings. Witnesses say he shot and wounded a black man during a confrontation. It's not clear why he was at the Tennessee courthouse. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
The Lewis and Clark Tower is officially reopening as we speak after $3 million year-long renovation that upgraded observation platforms, the visitor center, and more. The tower will now be open Wednesdays through Sundays from 10 to 4. St. Louis is really going to the dogs this weekend. You and your dog can explore the history behind the Gateway Arch. The Bark Ranger Arch History Walking Tour starts at 10 on Saturday and is free for all well-tempered leashed dogs. It's also the Humane Society's 31st annual Bark in the Park Saturday morning at Tower Grove Park. There's a registration fee for the 5K run, but all other events for you and your dog are free. From the KMOX Business Desk, shoppers pulled back on spending in April as higher gas prices fueled by the Iran war meant meant less money left over for non-essentials. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says this was widely expected.
I think that the gas, although it's not the only thing we spend money on, it becomes like a huge billboard for prices being higher. And that does impact our confidence level. And when our confidence goes down, we may start to shift how we spend money.
Honda has posted its first loss in nearly 70 years, and they blame it on an electric vehicle strategy that didn't work out as planned. We get more from Jeff Gilbert.
Honda lost $2.7 billion in the last fiscal year. Like a lot of car makers, they had to deal with a fast-changing electric vehicle market. Honda now plans to double down on hybrids, which have been very popular. Last year, Honda made $7.6 billion.
Mostly sunny and delightful this afternoon, high 76. Clouds will increase tonight, could lead to a thunderstorm toward morning. The overnight low 58. Tomorrow, a thunderstorm early, then becoming partly sunny, breezy and very warm. The afternoon high 85. For Saturday, variable cloudiness, warm and more humid with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around the high 80. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, it is sunny and 63 degrees. The weather is sponsored by Artistic Decks. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
This Memorial Day, Artistic Decks is honoring the season with rollback pricing. Precision craftsmanship meets old school American value to help you save big. Quality you can trust. Call 314-280-0821. Artistic Decks, making dreams affordable.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX and the free Odyssey app.
So Liberatore pitching from the stretch. Runner does not have a big lead from third. There's a line drive to Mason Wynn. They almost double him up. They do! They do! Great play by Mason Wynn.
Yo, Paulie! Paulie's a great name. Yo, Paulie! What'd you do for Paulie? Anything? Me, Paulie! I was responsible!
Paulie, we're here because of you.
Last night, the Cardinals dropped one in Sacramento to the A's, and today they're going to finish up that series before coming back home tomorrow. 1:10 pregame show on KMOX. We have the first pitch at 2:05. We welcome in Matt Pauley, the host of Sports Open Line, Redbird Rush Hour, pre- and post-game coverage, and Matt Pauley is with us now on KMOX. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning.
So, how about those Redbirds? I know we've got a split series here so far, opportunity to win it. But, I mean, is there anything from last night that you felt is, really sticking out to you? Because I feel like the way I'm watching the team right now, by and large, I mean, they've been a lot of fun. This is not, I don't have a ton of complaints about the way things go, with the exception of maybe the bullpen. The early bullpen relievers. We're not talking about late innings necessarily because Riley O'Brien has been really good. But there just isn't a whole lot right now to be annoyed with except maybe early relief.
Yeah, well, I think two things can be true. I think we can be very happy with how the team is playing and their record and the effort and the energy that they give on an every single night basis, and also very specifically look at last night's game and realize that was a bit of a clunker, realize that that's one of those 1 of 162s that you don't want to see the team continue to play that way. Oliver Marmol talked about it in his postgame that for one of the first times this year, he felt like last night's game was a game that they kind of gave away. They had 13 hits. That's great, but they go 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They committed an error in last night's game. They lose a base runner between third and home. So I don't know if I would completely agree with Ali on the idea that they gave it away to the A's, but they've been a very, very sharp baseball team most of the season that has done all the small things well and have won in the margins and all the stuff that we've talked about, and that is not how I would describe the way that they played last night.
Yeah, it was interesting. I heard that quote from Ali saying, in previous losses, you kind of feel like you got beat, but this one they gave it away. And I guess getting this deep into the season before the manager feels that they gave away a game is a good thing.
Yeah, and look, there's been a couple other games this year where I felt like that I would have used the term clunker to explain it. I think that's the first time I've heard Ali say it that way. Yeah, they didn't play well on Sunday. I think you almost lose the fact that because they were up with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the 9th inning, you almost feel like they played well on Sunday. They didn't. They scored 2 runs on 1 swing of the bat, and outside of that, they didn't do a thing the whole game. They never added on. So yeah, that's a great example, Ranj. So there have definitely been some games where they didn't put together their best effort, but I do think the difference last night is aesthetically they had opportunities, and they didn't. Not only did they not take advantage of the opportunities, they almost did things that shot themselves in the proverbial foot.
Well, you brought up runners in scoring position, and Marmol feeling like they sort of let that one get away, and them being 1 for 9. That's not unusual for them this year. They're one of the worst teams in baseball with runners in scoring position. However, they're top 10 in runs scored. So how do you square those two things?
They've hit a lot of home runs. That's the main thing. Like, I should stop there. They've hit a lot of home runs. So you score runs when you hit home runs, and that's what they've done. They've been among the league leaders in home runs. Sometimes we talk about their inability to score runners from third with less than 2 outs. That happens often, and then all of a sudden they'll come up and they'll get a 2-out hit or something like that, which that still goes towards their runners in scoring position numbers, and so it's not exactly what you were talking about. So I mean, you can dig in on the numbers a little bit and find the reason, but you're really working hard to find it if you say anything beyond the fact that they hit a bunch of home runs.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And they are, they've hit 47 home runs so far this season, which is better than what they have been, but it's still it's a little better than middle of the pack, I guess, or maybe it's on the upper end of middle of the pack. But that's a dramatic improvement from last year. I mean, they had no power last year at all.
Yeah, but I would also they haven't hit as many home runs on this road trip. When they went into the Milwaukee series, Ranj, they were 4th in Major League Baseball in home runs hit. And so that's where a lot of that comes from. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying about they currently are middle of the pack. But a week ago, they were a top 4 team.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at the season as a whole, the home runs have been very impactful.
I mean, they're not far from being a top 10 team in terms of that. The Mariners and the Phillies have 51 each. And they're both tied for 10th, and the Cardinals are just a few behind them. So it's not like they're far off the pace. But I think just taking a larger, bigger picture view, the fact that they have been so much better in that area this year that's a nice little turnaround, considering I don't think the lineup is, in terms of personnel, I don't think it's all that strong. You got a couple of guys who can hit that can hit. But I don't think that you would look at that lineup, and especially when the season started, you wouldn't look at it and go, oh, man, I'm afraid to face those guys.
No, the home run numbers are because of 2 guys. It's because of Jordan Walker and J.J. Weatherholt.
Yeah.
And those guys have not hit as many home runs over the last week. Jordan had his on Sunday. J.J. had his 2 days ago. But that might be the only home runs that those guys have hit for sure on this road trip, and I'd have to look at their day by day and see when they last hit ones. But that's why that you want to find the reason that the Cardinals have pretty good home run numbers. It is simply because J.J. Weatherholt has hit 8 of them, and Jordan Walker has hit 11 of them.
I mean, the Walker thing is still great. I'm still really enjoying, and I know we talked about this yesterday during Gas House Gang when you sat in with Tom and me. I'm so happy. Maybe it's the thing about the season that I am the most excited about. I think everybody is all, gaga over J.J. Weatherholt, and that's great, and I love watching him play. But the fact Jordan Walker seems to have kind of found it is such a huge development. And he had that bad stretch of baseball after a good start, and he's gone right back to good, which I think is super encouraging.
Yeah, I would agree. 0 for 4 day yesterday with a couple strikeouts, but you're not going to be overly upset about it. I mean, that just goes. Yeah, it's one game. He had a big opportunity late in the game when he came up and was unable to come up with a big hit when he could. But I mean, that happens. So yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying. I still think we do the thing where we continue to watch him to see, is this going to continue on? I don't know what the numbers are going to look like when the season comes to an end. It's going to be a constant battle all season long for him of making adjustments, being adjusted to, being disciplined in what you want to do, especially with the lineup the way it is right now. He doesn't have a whole lot of protection. The top 4 hitters are doing a fantastic job, and then when you get past Walker in that 4 spot, with all due respect to Nolan Gorman and Mason Wynn and Nathan Church, who have had moments, their numbers overall are not fantastic this year. So Walker's kind of the guy who has the least protection of any of the guys who are performing at a pretty high level offensively. I would love to see more depth added to this lineup, where Walker has some legitimate protection behind him, and then see what the results of that are.
Hey, Matt, switching over to defense, Derek Gould had a great piece today looking at the combination of Mason Wynn and J.J. Weatherholt and how it's allowed them to run a pretty aggressive defense. He says in the past 17 games, the Cardinals have turned 25 double plays. That no other team in that same stretch has turned more than 16, and most teams have turned half as many or fewer. And then the Cardinals entered last night's game with the second most double plays in the majors at 42, and then they quickly turned their 43rd. So what have you seen from that combo, just kind of piggybacking on Derek Gould?
Yeah, they're really good, and it's really fun to watch. J.J. Weatherholt's defense, the defense and the power have been the two things that have been surprising about him, because you thought he was going to be fine at second base defensively. He has been really good. His numbers show that he is an elite defender at second base, and standing next to Mason Wynn really helps him out. Wynn has very good range, so that allows there have been many times where Weatherholt has been able to make a really good play going to his left, and I think he's played further off the second base bag in those situations because Wynn has more range, so that allows Weatherholt to move further in one direction or another based off where Wynn is at. So the chemistry that those guys already have, you think about great double play combinations, those two guys could go down as one of the better double play combinations in the history of this organization if they continue to play together for years and years and years. We already knew that Mason Wynn is one of the best fielding players walking the face of the earth, and then to add in a guy like J.J. Weatherholt, who is playing that way right now, it can be incredibly impactful. And you mentioned the double play. There have been many times where the Cardinals have gotten out of a tough situation thanks to a double play.
And the Cardinals are overall, they're easily a top 5 defensive team this year.
They are.
I mean, the numbers are even saying it.
Yeah, I mean, you go look around at every single position. You've got 3 outfielders, and they do it a little bit differently, right? Like Jordan Walker, you don't think of him as being the pristine route runner, but because he has as good of an arm in the outfield, he does things in right field. You think about Scott and Church in center and left. They're both high-level defenders. Nolan Gorman's defense has been one of the biggest surprises of this season. Yesterday, he didn't look great. There were a couple plays he didn't make, but one game notwithstanding, the overall metrics on what Gorman has done defensively at third have been great. Alec Burleson has turned himself into a really, really solid first baseman. That's probably been a little bit of a surprise. And then behind the plate, I would argue that Pedro Pages is having one of his lesser defensive seasons of his time with the Cardinals, and he's still one of the better defensive catchers in baseball. And even Ivan Herrera, when he's back there, he has certainly improved. So this is a really, really good defensive club.
Just lastly, before we say goodbye, what do you think they do with Victor Scott?
I don't know.
He doesn't at the plate. I mean, in the field, really good, but at the plate, he's just not providing much. And they've got Lars Nootbaar on the way back.
Yeah, well, when Lars is back, that's a lot of people are calling for him to not be on the roster right now, and I would pump the brakes on that a little bit. I was talking about this on the postgame show yesterday because somebody said, "Oh, you got to call Joshua Baez up." No, you don't have to call Baez up, and part of the reason why is you don't want to put yourself in a situation where Nootbaar gets back and you've already called up Baez, and now you're trying to figure out how to play Baez or if to keep him here. Like once you bring somebody like that up, you have to give him a job. And the team and the roster is not set up right now just to give him a job. So there are some other things that can be done. Right now, he's not a major league hitter. Right now, he's a 178. And I love Victor Scott II. I hate saying this because he's so fun. Everything about him is great. And the skill set that he has with the speed, you want him to be an impactful player for the Cardinals, and you can kind of dream on what it would look like. But again, a 178 average, a 471 OPS. Oof. I mean, those are terrible, terrible numbers, which you don't see guys with those numbers stick around in the big leagues. So I have to wonder when Lars gets back, and there's room on the roster for him when you consider the fact that right now you have a Cesar Prieto, you've got some other guys on the roster who you could move down instead of him when Nootbaar comes back. But that's not sustainable. You cannot carry a guy with those numbers all season long in the big leagues, and you certainly can't keep running him out there. So I'm not worried about the team making a move on him like right now, but I do think when Nootbaar is back, that's going to change things.
I mean, if you had a lineup of sluggers, you could keep him out there in center field just because he can cover the ground, right? But that's not what this team is. So I do see a move happening. Matt Pauley, my understanding is you're on the station pretty much all day starting at 1:10. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's been this week on the West Coast. It has been way too much of me on KMOX with like full sports open lines going into full West Coast games, getting off the air at 1 o'clock in the morning. We have we need to get back into the old Central Time Zone and get a more normalized schedule here.
Just soon enough, buddy. Tomorrow. How about that?
Yeah, look, I'm kidding. It's fun. It's fun, but it is a lot of me.
I tell everybody
if there is somebody out there that does not like me, and I'm sure I know there are. This has not been a good week for them.
Well, guess what? I am telling everybody how much you don't really like your job.
Oh, stop it.
Bye.
Bye.
Yo, Paulie, your sister's with me. I'll call you back later. See ya.
Matt Pauley's got the pregame show at 1:10. And then the first pitch will be at 2:05. Then he's got the postgame. Then, I guess, will there be Redbird Rush Hour? There'll probably be a little bit of that, yeah. Depending on the timing of the game. And then Sports Open Line at 6. A lot of Cardinals today. And Matt Pauley on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs. So this is not the time for I hope it works out. That's why Steve All and the team at the All Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines can impact your returns, dealing with issues like taxes, outliving your money, and long-term care. Retirement Simplified, May 19th and 21st. It's complimentary, but you must qualify to attend. 636-230-8824 or at yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement. Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bringing a data center online takes more than equipment. It takes precision. Graybar helps customers predict, stage, schedule, deliver, and verify every step of the build with critical products that are available now. From networking and wireless to critical power and testing tools, our teams help you reduce downtime risk and keep projects on track. Speed, scale, ready now. Yep, Graybar does that.
Meet Linda. She's stuck in a school pickup line, thinking about what to make for dinner. Are the kids' practice jerseys clean? If she sent out that last email before leaving work. But you know what she's not thinking about? Her HVAC system. Linda is a preferred partner with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. Members get 2 HVAC system checks per year. We clean and inspect your HVAC systems at each visit. Partners also get priority service and exclusive discounts starting at just $19 per month. Life is chaos, but with Air Comfort Service, you'll have peace of mind with your HVAC system. Visit aircomfortservice.com today. After all, comfort is our middle name.
Kaufman Townsley, St. Louis's injury lawyers, is fueling St. Louis. All gas, no brakes. They're giving away $77 gas cards to St. Louis drivers. Register to win until May 17th at KaufmanTownsley.com. Kaufman Townsley, putting money back in your tank.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Proudly serving St. Louis for over 100 years. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Do you in any...
Hey, remember when we saw all those people camped out outside Enterprise Center earlier this week? And we talked about, oh my gosh, did you ever camp out for good seats if you had general admission tickets, or were they camping out, to get the tickets themselves? But assuming they were camping out, and we got our research team on it, and apparently the British rock band Bring Me the Horizon, they were in town from across the pond to play at Enterprise Center, and people were excited.
They were there with what was the other band? You said Matt Pajeski?
Yeah.
Motionless in White.
Motionless in White.
Yeah.
Well,
and they were super excited because they love this band.
And Amy, I am excited. Those people outside were there when I left.
Yeah.
I remember. You said they were
there at
in the morning.
7:30 in the morning. Before that, 7 in the morning.
So dedicated fans.
Yes.
And I have to imagine that it was one of them who injured the lead singer.
Well, that's what happened. See, on Fox
Don't you
2,
think?
on Fox 2, reporting that Ollie Sykes, the lead singer of British rock band Bring Me the Horizon, he suffered a mild concussion after an audience member apparently threw a phone that struck him in the head
let me
on
just,
stage.
First of all, let me just say this was not just on Fox 2. So this has been covered.
Sorry.
Like Page 6, People Magazine,
it's national
Hollywood
now.
Reporter. Yeah, it's all over the place. That somebody at this concert, and again, I have to blame one of those 50 or so people who were outside Enterprise
You
Center.
think it was one of the dedicated?
Those are the people who are crazy enough to throw crap on a stage.
What if it was somebody who didn't want to go, got drunk, and acted a fool?
No.
So during so he's on stage, and Sykes, after getting hit in the head, after completing Happy Song, ironically, was visibly distraught. Who the blank just threw a phone at my blanking head, he said. Then he handed the phone to a security worker and he had to check his head for blood. It would make me not want to be a performer anymore.
Okay.
What an idiot. What a horrible person to throw a phone on stage.
Is the word that is okay.
What are you trying to get at?
He called there's a word that he used on stage, and he's British.
Mm-hmm.
It is a British slang term. I don't know if it is a bad word, though. Is it considered offensive? So I don't know if I could say it. Starts with a T.
Oh, I don't think you can say
it. It starts with toss. Okay? So if you know what I'm talking about, this is a British word that they use.
I don't.
Okay. I don't know if I can say it or not.
I don't think you can.
Because it's kind of like
you can't say a bad word in Russian
or in Spanish or something like that. I know we can get in trouble by the FCC. So
you're not allowed to spell it. I don't think.
Is the second half of the word something like
ER?
Huh?
ER.
No. Okay. I'm thinking of something else.
Okay. But it is a British. It's a British. I don't think it's an expletive.
You said you had a segment a long time ago about funny British slang, and one of them, I'm going to say it, was toss pot. That's like
It's not that one.
Okay, that's an old-timey word that doesn't get used anymore.
That's like where you go to the bathroom? That's what they...
It's just an obnoxious person, it says.
But I mean, that's what that probably is referring
So
to.
I will say that if you were watching the show on Facebook, if you're watching on Facebook, you can watch us on Facebook. John, he's got it right. That's the word I'm looking for. I don't know if I can say that or not. I think I can. I think it's fine. But I'm just going to...
Okay, can I just say this?
But anyway, he called the crowd that. He said, who did that? This
Yeah.
person is a blanking
Well, they're
that.
right. They're right. But I will say this, how you feel right now, where you have a vague idea that it's bad.
That's how you feel about the word damn?
That's how I feel about so many things.
I know.
I've asked you. There's a word that starts with PR that I've had to ask you if that's bad, because I've heard it before, primarily from the British. But I think it's bad.
Prunes?
Probably a girl who's very prude, maybe.
No.
No.
We'll get to it, but I just am so grateful that you have this feeling, because that is how I feel all the time, because I
Anyway.
have this vague idea that words are bad, but I don't know how bad they are.
Hey, listen, dummies, if you're going to concerts, stop throwing stuff at the performers.
Right?
Water bottles, cell phones, anything else. Don't throw at the performers. And now this guy who's British is going to go back to England, and he's going to tell everybody that St. Louis sucks. After we just had a guy from London come through and talk about how great it is. Now this guy's going to go undo all that work.
Yeah, and he's got a concussion. You hurt somebody. What an idiot. I hope that person is banned for life.
Chris and Amy on KMOX, and you may have seen the 60 Minutes interview with Benjamin Netanyahu that was conducted by our next guest, our weekly guest, Major Garrett, Chief Washington correspondent for CBS News. He's with us when we come back.
St. Louis is a baseball town, and the Gas House Gang talks Cardinals baseball. Ackerman, Ranji, Miklas, and Claves bring informed opinions and real insight. Smart baseball talk from guys who truly know the game. And every Tuesday at noon, it's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol. Passion, knowledge, the best baseball talk in town. The Gas House Gang, weekdays at noon. We know baseball. KMOX.
Turning 50 doesn't mean slowing down. It means getting smarter about your health. That's why we created NeoVitan Men's 50 Plus Multivitamin. It's doctor formulated to support your energy, immune health, and overall vitality. Plus, it's made in the U.S. using the finest domestic and international ingredients. Take control of your health with supplements you can trust. Look for NeoVitan Men's 50 Plus at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, or online at neovitan.com. NeoVitan, made for men who keep moving forward.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Absolutely gorgeous outside. 65 degrees, a high today of 76. Tonight, mainly clear. Maybe some rain or thunderstorm near dawn. A low of 55. Weather sponsored by Financial and Tax Strategies.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up. Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account.
When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything.
Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
Let's talk about Air Medical memberships. In an emergency, you don't choose who transports you. Dispatch sends the closest, most appropriate aircraft. Here's what matters: speed, skill, advanced care. Like critical care crews trained for the toughest moments. Like onboard blood that can make the difference between life and death. Arch Air Medical Service delivers life-saving air medical care across Effingham and surrounding communities. When you call for help, we bring hospital-level care to you. Plus, we're part of Air Methods, the nation's largest air medical provider. And about the cost, the No Surprises Act protects patients with private health insurance from unexpected out-of-network air ambulance bills. You're only responsible for your in-network copay, coinsurance, or deductible. Medicare and Medicaid patients have similar protections. No surprise bills, no balance billing, no membership required. Because when it's your life on the line, what matters isn't membership, it's medicine. Learn more at airmethods.com. Copays, coinsurance, and deductibles are set by insurance providers, not Air Methods. Terms and costs may vary. Contact your insurer for details.
St. Louis, are you ready to go Hardy?
I woke up on the wrong side of the truck bed.
The country rock hitmaker behind Truck Bed. Wait in the truck and one beer. He's bringing his No Holds Barred live show to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater June 5th. With special guests Cameron Whitcomb and McCoy Moore. Hardy, live, loud, and unapologetic. One night only. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
The Chris and Amy Show is video streaming now on KMOX's YouTube, X, and Facebook pages. Click and subscribe. It's Major News with Major Garrett, our weekly conversation with CBS's chief Washington correspondent.
Do you in any way consider yourself responsible for that problem?
No, because I don't think that they're not only attacking Israel, they're attacking America. They're attacking America. They're trying to create ruptures within America, not only between America and Israel, but between Americans and Americans. They're trying to say...
Foreign Operation Bot Farms.
Enormous ones.
You heard there Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, with our next guest. It is Major Garrett, Chief Washington Correspondent for CBS News. He hosts The Takeout on CBS News 24/7. The Takeout, you can watch or listen to it. Happens every day. And Major Garrett with us every Thursday on KMOX. Good morning, Major.
Good morning. How is everybody?
We are doing okay, and I believe it was last week we were getting ready to talk to you, and you said, guys, something came up.
Yeah.
We were like,
it's a little hurtful.
What happened?
Yeah,
what did you?
A little hurtful, but...
You had a shopping trip to Marshall's? What was going on? No, you were talking with the Prime Minister of Israel.
Well, I wasn't on Thursday, but I was indisposed in preparation for that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I had to rearrange my schedule quite considerably. Probably more than it's ever been rearranged in my journalistic career.
Major, what was the turnaround? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
yeah. What was that turnaround? You get the news. How does it work? They tell you, hey, you're going to fly to Israel and do this interview, and you leave tomorrow. What's the turnaround?
Yeah, so I was at my alma mater, the University of Missouri, on Tuesday of last week. I got a call late Tuesday afternoon that this was possible and that I should try to find my way to Tel Aviv as rapidly as I could. And I said, well, I don't carry my passport with me typically, so I'll have to get back to Washington, which I did Wednesday morning. Packed, flew to Newark that Wednesday evening, met my producer who was flying from California because he was on another assignment. We got on a flight from Newark to Tel Aviv, got to Tel Aviv Thursday afternoon, Israel time, all day Friday. It wasn't 1,000% or even 50% clear that we were going to get the interview. But one of the things that happens in circumstances like this, presence matters, and the expense and the toil of being there present counts for something. Meaning, hey, we're here. We've come all this way. Let's get this done. And that and other factors prevailed upon the Israeli Prime Minister and his team to agree to the interview, which was Saturday night, Israel time, late Saturday night, Israel time. And then we turned the piece around all day Sunday, East Coast time. And I flew back that next day. So I was up about 30 straight hours from the time of the interview, a little bit of sleep, and then 30 hours after that to get the piece across the finish line. So it was quite a hectic weekend.
And now that it happened and it was a whirlwind and it was done and you did it, of course, very well, what was your takeaway from the entire thing?
Look, there are a lot of component parts to that interview. The clip you just played was an important question because we were talking about what has happened in the last 2 years in America on a bipartisan basis, but it's certainly more pronounced among Democrats and the progressive left, but it is also now becoming a part of the conversation on the MAGA right, a decline in support for Israel. And you heard the question because the Prime Minister was going to great lengths to say this is all the problem or the main reason that Israel has this problem, which is new, is social media. And we had a long conversation about that. But I wanted to bear down on him about his personal responsibility. Does he see anything in the decisions he has made since the October 7th attacks by Hamas inside Israel and the prosecution of the war in Gaza and in Lebanon? Does he take any personal responsibility for what has happened in terms of a decline in support for Israel, just generically, not even about the war in Gaza or Lebanon, but just generically? And he said no. I believe that's a super important answer. Whether you like that answer or not is not my problem. My issue is to ask the question and have his answer recorded for all time. And so the Israeli Prime Minister is not only telling people of Israel who suffer from this, Jews around the world who suffer from this reputational harm, and Jews in America and Americans writ large, that he's not personally responsible. Again, you may not like that answer. You might find that answer lacking credibility, but it's his answer. And when I conduct interviews, I ask hard questions and I let the answers speak for themselves. I don't try to get in the way of that process. So there are a lot of things that we talked about. Russian support for Iran, Chinese support for Iran. When is the war going to be over? How do you get the highly enriched uranium out of there? When and how are you going to disarm Hamas in Gaza? All these issues. We covered a ton of issues. The Prime Minister said for the first time on camera he wants to draw down U.S. military support. That was absolute news. He'd never said that before on camera. He'd applied it a couple of times in Israel, but he'd never made a big deal out of it. That was all news. So I'm not going to get in the business of deciding what was the most newsworthy component of that interview. That it was 90 minutes, the longest TV interview we were told afterward that the Israeli Prime Minister had ever done, is important. And everything he said, I believe, has a value from a news perspective, not only in the region, but across the world, because this is quite obviously a conflict with global implications.
Yeah, it was a really good interview, Major. And he said no about not feeling that he had done anything to drive up anti-Israel sentiment. But, he also had been elaborating his defense throughout the interview, bringing up that Israel was fighting 7 fronts, with Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran, that they used, he brought this up multiple times, the surgical precision that their intelligence allows them to use, for instance, going after Hezbollah with the beepers, and then also the steps Israel takes to get innocent civilians out of the way while Hamas purposefully and Iran purposefully put civilians in harm's way. So he did say no, but then also was building that case around the decisions he made.
Right. And look, there are those who believe that Israel's tactics in Gaza have been disproportionate. And I asked him about that. I said, there are people in America who believe your actions there are indiscriminate and barbaric. He answered those questions in his own way. Again, you may not agree with the Israeli Prime Minister's perspective on that, but the questions were asked and answered. And he also makes a point about if you're going to talk about words like war crimes and genocide in Gaza, you better have an answer for what you think about the Iranian regime slaughtering some 20, 30, or 40,000 civilians protesting in the streets in that country. Or Hamas, which this is not a mystery, this is not a contested fact, positions itself in civilian areas, uses human shields, that's established, committed atrocities against Israeli civilians on October 7th, that's an established fact. All these things are part of this history. And denunciations of Israel are legitimate. I raised all of those issues with the prime minister, and he answered them in his own way. And he's a formidable interview subject. Let me tell you, he is a very tough interview subject. And I did the best I could, and I stand by the interview.
When you say he is a tough subject, what precisely do you mean by it?
So I don't believe there's anyone on the world stage, and this is the longest-serving prime minister in Israel's history, who is more self-assured, more media-savvy, more ideologically composed, meaning he knows what his ideological point of view is and can communicate it forcefully, not only in Hebrew but in English, and has a long-running track record of being able to dominate an interview space. And people who were dissecting this interview in Israel afterwards commented about that. He is a tough interview because he is so, I would say, perpetually self-confident. And it's hard to get him to be reflective in any way that moves him off his established point of view or talking points. I think I did. I think I got him to be reflective in ways that he hadn't in public and on camera been before. Again, there's lots of criticism of this interview. Fine. People can criticize the work I do. I have no objection to that. I'm not harmed by that. I am, in my own way, reflective about that. No interview is perfect. But I think there are ways in which he reflected on not only Israeli tactics. He said they've made mistakes, they've made military mistakes, that civilians had died as a result of Israeli strategic and tactical mistakes in Gaza and by implication in Lebanon. People may think that's not enough, that he wasn't contrite enough. Again, those are his answers to the questions to get at the heart of those underlying issues. But he clearly believes Israel, after October 7th, had to prosecute its war against its enemies in a new and different way. And he gave voice to that in ways that he'd never done before. And he also said, even after all that, and though appraisals of Israel are suffering in America, meaning approval or just general attitudes of sympathy toward Israel have suffered in America, he said surrounding Gulf and Arab states are moving more toward Israel because they, in his words, not mine, believe there is more that they can do economically and diplomatically with them as an axis against Iran. All those things are going to either play out and be true and vindicated in the next few months, or they're not. But what matters is he's on the record saying things in that space that he's never said before. And my belief about an interview of this magnitude is when you get a newsmaker to say things that newsmaker has never said before, you've succeeded.
The president today meeting with President Xi in China, and all of these things that are happening right now have world implications. They have implications on this country, obviously, because we're going through a war. What comes out of that meeting? What happens next with the two seeming to have some sort of agreement on some things, like the Strait of Hormuz, for example, which is causing all of us problems?
Right. So my experience in covering summits in China is things are announced after the president leaves. Rarely do the Chinese say what's been agreed to or give anything more than general descriptions until the president leaves. Then there's some sort of announcement, and then there has to be the follow-up. Now, the president has said today China's agreed to buy X number of Boeing jets and buy more liquefied natural gas and more soybeans. Again, we've seen these pronouncements before. They have not materialized to the rhetorical lengths that the president has gone to describe them in the past, so we'll have to see. The fine print with the Chinese is always what matters most, not the rhetoric, not what's announced, but the long-term fine print 6, 8, 12 months after the announcement. So this is a long game, and the Chinese play a long diplomatic and economic game. President, in his some clips that Fox has already released in an interview with Sean Hannity, said President Xi said, "I'm not going to send military equipment to Iran." Well, that's already happened. That's an established fact, and I had a long conversation with the Israeli Prime Minister about that, where he was visibly uncomfortable discussing the implications of it. And what President Xi of China might very well have told President Trump is, "I'm not going to directly provide aid." Well, okay, fine. But there are shadow companies and shadow entities through which the Chinese have already been supplying Iran with military equipment. So it's not direct, maybe indirect. Again, that's where the fine print of any negotiations with China, a clear economic and geopolitical competitor of the United States, matter most. So we'll wait to see what the rhetoric is, and then 2, 3, 4, 5 months from now, we'll look what the fine print says.
Major Garrett, we appreciate our conversations with you every Thursday. Let's do it again next week, unless you're sent off to, I don't know, maybe you go talk to President Xi next. Just last minute, they send you out there and you have to cancel on us.
Major, we need you to get to Beijing.
Well, let's hope not. Let's hope not. I could use a bit of a rest. So let's hope we're talking to each other as scheduled next Thursday.
Thank you, Major.
You got it.
Chief Washington correspondent for CBS News. His show is called The Takeout. It is on CBS News 24/7, and you should watch or listen to it, or why not do both? Major Garrett with us at 10:30 every Thursday on KMOX.
There's one box that you'd run back into your burning house to grab. It's the box filled with your videotapes, film reels, and photos. Those sentimental, meaningful, irreplaceable moments. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger. We started Legacy Box over a decade ago so that we could help families save their memories from being destroyed by floods or fires.
And it's not just natural disasters, Adam. Every day, videotapes and photos are slowly fading away, decaying, neglected in closets and attics.
Digitizing your old media stops fading, and preserving those recordings means they are safe forever. It's like magic, converting your shoebox of memories into digital files, ready to watch and share.
It's the only way to ensure your legacy is safe for generations. That's why over 1 million families have already trusted Legacy Box. Legacy Box is simple and easy, it works, and is safe. We'd love to preserve your family's collection. Don't wait, the risk is too great.
Visit legacybox.com/radio to save 50%. That's legacybox.com/radio to get started and save. Legacybox.com/radio.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
At EasyCater, we believe every workday gets better with great food. The 9 a.m. staff meeting? How about breakfast burritos and lots of coffee? Big client presentation at noon? Let's do Mediterranean bowls. Accounting's gotta work late. Keep them pepped up with spicy noodles. With EasyCater, you get a huge variety of favorite restaurants with tools to help meet dietary needs and stay on budget, all on one platform. So make every workday better with EasyCater. Start an order at easycater.com.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No pain, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at Amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Chris Raunchy, Amy Markscores, because life is too short for boring radio. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Worst parking lot in St. Louis. That's our question of the week. And it's a reason that you should be following us on Twitter. Or if you call it X, like a dork, at Chris Amy KMOX. Follow us there, and you can leave your idea about who the or what the worst parking lot in the city is. And I think in the area, it's not just city limits of St. Louis; it could be anywhere. And of course, as Amy has mentioned a number of times, Brentwood Promenade is a strong leader in the clubhouse on that.
I think we have our number one. I think it's Brentwood Promenade. Number two, I feel like has been a pretty good battle between Riverport Amphitheater, getting out of Riverport after a concert, and the Costco on Manchester on the weekend.
How much do you think it sucks to work in one of those office buildings out in the Riverport Hollywood Casino Theater area? And a concert happens. You're like,
but you're not
I gotta get out of here.
You're not working at 11 p.m. or 10 p.m.
Well, no, when people arrive, even. But I guess you're right. It's worse.
I think it's
worse on the way out.
Yeah,
still pretty bad on the way in.
I think isn't most of the log jam just one intersection and the parking lot? It's
pretty
not
much.
Really blocking Highway 70.
No. It didn't. No. I mean, we're flooding a lot of traffic onto 70, but that's to be expected. It's what happens at a ball game too. But you don't really complain about parking lots near Busch Stadium unless your car gets broken into.
Well, yeah, you don't want that.
No.
You don't want your car getting broken into. Yeah, I think Brentwood Promenade, just not only because it's surrounded by Eager Road and 170 and Highway 40 and Hanley and Big Bend, and they're all coming together. It's just such a hot mess. But then you put Trader Joe's and Target and all of these, the stores where people go and they fill up their carts, and you jam them into a parking lot where the spaces were literally made too small. There are too many spaces in that parking lot.
KT is watching and says, abandoned lot under the interstate at Old Busch had craters the size of a house, and there were no lights there either. There are still parking lots under the highway.
It's an abandoned lot?
I don't know.
I feel like I've parked under that. I parked under that highway a lot. I thought that was the All-Star parking.
I don't know. But I don't ever have a problem getting out of Busch Stadium, even when it's packed. There are so many different options.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that promenade, though.
Went to the Indy 500 years ago, and it took 3 hours to get out of their pay lot. Yes, we used to go to the Indy 500 every year, and we would park super far away and then hitchhike to the place, and then we would just have to walk 2 or 3 miles back to our car.
Oh God.
Yeah. But you otherwise you would be stuck for hours and hours.
You have to park 2 to 3 miles away?
I want to say it was 2.5 miles.
Oh, gross. Oh,
but
that'd be awful.
It was fine. On the way back, you're having fun. And we hitchhiked with some guy who had a very nice truck to get to the racetrack.
Chris and Amy on KMOX. Final hour of the show is next. And the Battlehawks play Saturday. We're going to talk to punter, for the Battlehawks, Ryan Sanborn. When we come back, the Battlehawks are 5-2. This is KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Ready for a fresh start? The Excel Center in St. Louis is here to help you earn your high school diploma, tuition-free and on your schedule. With convenient locations in downtown St. Louis and Florissant, you can learn at your pace with support every step of the way. Need childcare, career coaching, flexible classes? We've got you covered. Registration is now open. Don't wait to take the next step toward your future. Visit excel.mersgoodwill.org to enroll today. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. This season, we're continuing a limited spring opportunity, offering select enhancements designed to elevate your home and your experience. From a finished basement recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades, or flexible options like design credits or closing cost savings. These offers are available in select communities for a limited time. Visit LombardoHomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-323-8922. 800-323-8922. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-323-8922.
You know, here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Laterman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Laterman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Laterman Law Firm at latermanlaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's 11 o'clock and we've got sunshine and 65 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. The St. Louis City Mayor and Board of Aldermen introduced the latest plan on how to spend the Rams settlement money.
The highlights of the bill include $110 million towards North City, including $79 million towards tornado recovery, infrastructure improvements, $65 million, including $30 million for the Water Division, and for the Downtown Revitalization Fund, $55 million. But after last year's bill fell apart on the floor of the board chambers, I asked this key question to Board President Megan Green. Could this be a process to get enough votes together for it to pass?
I think it's very close.
Green says she believes they've reached a place of compromise amongst the board.
Recognition that everybody needs to give a little and that nobody is going to get 100% of what they want.
Outside City Hall, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
President Trump and China's President Xi Jinping talking about a wide range of issues. CBS's Weijia Zhang reporting from Beijing tells us it has some agenda items that are likely to be agreed upon without problem.
We do expect more trade agreements. We do expect more purchasing of American agriculture products from China. In fact, we know that that progress has already been made when it comes to American beef, along with perhaps more business deals.
But Xi has warned Trump that their two countries could clash over Taiwan if the issue is not handled properly, emphasizing that Taiwan is the most crucial issue in U.S.-China relations. Meanwhile, tensions escalating again near the Strait of Hormuz as a ship anchored off the United Arab Emirates was seized and taken toward Iran, and another was attacked and sunk near the coast of Oman. A 27-year-old father of two is being charged with first-degree endangering the welfare of a child after leaving his gun out, and his 3-year-old picked up that gun and shot himself in the head. The child died. Florissant police say Jordan Burns was at his mother's apartment Tuesday, had been drinking, and left the gun out where it was easily accessible to his 2- and 3-year-olds. Burns was due in court this morning. From the KMOX business desk, nearly 50,000 Lake Tahoe residents have to find a new power source because NV Energy will start sending all its power to a new data center next year. Northern Nevada has become one of the fastest-growing data center corridors in the country, using up to 30% of the state's electricity. Lake Tahoe resident Danielle Hughes tells Fortune magazine, "It's like we don't exist." The U.S. Postal Service releasing special edition stamps featuring the bald eagle for America's 250th birthday. The stamps issued today depict the eagle across 5 life stages from hatchling to adult. The artist behind the collection spent nearly a year on the illustrations and hopes the stamps inspire appreciation for the natural world.
A gorgeous afternoon with sunshine. Our high 76. Clouds will gradually increase tonight, low 58. There can be a thunderstorm in the area late tonight or early tomorrow. Later tomorrow, breezy and warmer with clouds and sun and a high of 85. Saturday will be warm and rather humid with clouds, some sun, and a couple of showers and a thunderstorm in the area. Saturday's high near 80. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
The weather is sponsored by the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. It's currently sunny and 65 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Chris and Amy now. The Dave Glover Show at 1 on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
It is the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX, and it is time to go to the Quiver River Electric guest line today because we have a big game coming up this weekend at the Dome at America Center. The Battlehawks are 5-2, and they welcome the Houston Gamblers in town, and it'll be a 2:00 game at the Dome this weekend. Joining us on the show today is punter Ryan Sanborn, with us now on KMOX. Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
Doing well. Excited to join the show.
Well, we're excited to have you, and again, it's been another exciting Battlehawks season because this team is, for the last several years they've been here in St. Louis, it's always competitive, and as you know, the Dome is always a fun place to play.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no better home field advantage in the UFL than being in St. Louis, and I think the guys and the team really respond well to the atmosphere we've got going down there.
You know, I have to jump right into this because we've been interviewing so many Battlehawks players. All of you guys are awesome, but we've interviewed a couple of your teammates now who went to Harvard. You played football and baseball at Stanford. I think the Battlehawks as a team,
it's got to be the smartest football team in the country.
You guys could score pretty high on the SAT if you had to.
I'd have to imagine so, yeah. I'm definitely going to agree with you there. I know I've got some friends on some other teams, and we play a lot of chess around here. And that's been something where I think we've been excelling pretty well off the field, and it really translated over onto the field as well.
Okay. I know you know other football players around the country. How many of them are in locker rooms or have been in locker rooms where they're playing chess regularly?
Just like Charles Lindbergh's plan to cross the Atlantic.
Honestly,
big ideas don't arrive
really?
gently. They
fun little
ignite.
segment at Texas. Well, obviously,
For
I came
Sassy
from Stanford and
Duggleby,
transferred
it
to
was in
Texas,
Tokyo,
but some of my
discussing a
buddies ended
13-hour
up
flight back
connecting
to
with
Texas.
the people at chess.com to run a chess tournament there, and kind of makes a little more sense at Stanford. You've got a lot of people that are into it over there, but then I was at Texas at the time, and so I reached out to the same people, and we got a tournament set up going at Texas as well. But that's pretty cool. I mean, we've got a lot of guys on our team that play. I know, like, AJ, our offensive coordinator, is a big chess guy as well. So it's always just something you can kind of banter with in the locker room or, like, on the plane flights, too, away games. You get something to do, something to play on the bus.
You guys can split the defense and split the atom if you had to, probably.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
We're sorry, Ryan.
I apologize. Hey,
it's not appropriate.
It's not appropriate. Okay, I brought up that I mean, you are incredibly athletic. Obviously, you took the football route, but when did you know that you were going to choose football over baseball, or did you have a favorite when you were younger?
I just played every single sport I could growing up, and for me, it was just a way to stay active. I had no idea I was going to play baseball in college until pretty much I got there. It was a really weird story. It was my senior year of high school. I was committed to play football at Stanford, and we were going into our last baseball this season, and it was actually playing against a Cardinals player now, Thomas Sagasi. I think he's the second baseman out there, but he was playing for Carlsbad High, and he was getting recruited by, I want to say it was Fresno State or Cal State Fullerton, and they had a coach out there watching. But during the game, I was pitching against him, pitched pretty well, and he was asking the parents where I was going to school the next year, and all the parents were like, oh, well, he's going to Stanford, but he's going there for football. So he ended up making a call to the Stanford baseball coaches, basically saying, hey, like, saw this guy out here. I heard he's going to your school for football. Like, you guys should go ahead and give him a shot. And so I ended up getting in contact with the Stanford baseball coaches, basically just saying, like, hello, got connected through this other coach and our football ops person. Like, just wanted to see kind of what the deal is. Like, would love to come out and join you guys' team. And so I started off as a walk-on in football, played my whole freshman season, earned a scholarship after that. And over the winter, I went back to the baseball coach, was like, hey, is this kind of still on? Like, what's the deal? And he said, yeah, I would love to. Like, go ahead, get with one of our senior pitchers, like, just do some throwing over the winter break, and we'll have you come back, throw a bullpen for our team. And so went back for winter break. Honestly, I never ended up throwing with that team. I threw with my dad in my backyard maybe 5 or 6 times, just trying to figure out anything, see if my arm is in shape at all. But I went back, got to throw a bullpen for them, and they were pretty happy with it. So I ended up sticking around on the team for my freshman year.
What's it like?
But yeah, for me, like I was – sorry, yeah, go ahead.
No, what's it like to be so physically gifted where you're playing football at Stanford? You're like, you know what? Okay, maybe I'll try baseball too. Oh, cool. I made that team also.
I'm honestly very lucky, blessed with some athletic talents and got some athletic parents as well. I got some athletic genes, which has been nice. But yeah, I mean, my parents were always great. They were the people that were driving me from football game to soccer game to baseball game on a weekend. Like ever since I was 10 years old, it was every single weekend I was going to a tournament. My sister was doing a dance recital. So grew up in a very athletic family and just very competitive as well. Like we could be playing ping pong, we could be playing like darts or something like that, and it's always going to get a little heated at our household. People want to win.
I mean, it's so impressive. Okay, well, you also are a 3 handicap in golf. So did you? Were you going to golf for Stanford?
No, I really honestly didn't get into it until college. It was one of those things where I had played a little bit in high school, but my dad was one of those dads who's like, well, I don't want to ruin your baseball swing. Like, we don't know if you're going to go play baseball anywhere. But once I was committed to football, and I was at baseball at that point, I was basically just being a pitcher. He's like, okay, like it's time. We'll take you out to the course a little bit. But once COVID hit was actually when I really started playing a lot. And so we had like just moved out to Vegas. We were out on a golf course, and that was the only thing that was open at the time. And for me, it was great because we had online classes. I would work out in the morning, do my online classes, and then go play 18. And that was my routine for about 2 months, which was awesome. And so that really got me into the game. And honestly, the game of golf has been a lot of fun too. We've got a lot of guys on our team that play. We try and get out on the weekends when we can. If we've got a Friday game, we'll try and get out on a Sunday, just get out there for some recovery. But yeah, I mean, that's been really fun. Gotten to travel some cool places, play some cool courses. And I mean, I think it's been a really big growing sport that's been cool to see a lot of people starting to pick up now.
Battlehawks punter Ryan Sanborn is with us on KMOX. You're talking about your competitive and athletic family genes. There's no chance you're related to Jack Sanborn, who also has a football brother named Brian. I think they're from Wisconsin. I know you're from California.
Yeah.
They're the only Sanborns I've ever heard of are all football players.
Oh, really?
It's it's incredible. And you also said apparently you were talking about Thomas Sagasi, who you played against. You're close with Quinn Matthews. That's a guy that Cardinals fans are really looking forward to getting to see every day.
Quinn, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for him to get the call up. I'm hoping it's soon, so I want to be able to be out there for a game. But yeah, Quinn was another guy. We came in the same freshman year at Stanford, and he was one of our pitchers. And he's such an interesting character. I've got nothing but good things to say about Quinn. He's one of the most unique people I've seen. You kind of get that a lot with with pitchers and lefties especially. But I mean, talk about a competitor. If you look at what he did in college and kind of like one of his last games, actually against Texas, throwing like 150 pitches. I mean, that guy is someone that you always want out on the mound for you.
So,
man, I mean, this might be one of the most surreal interviews. I'm feeling pretty bad about myself right now. This is so incredible. I also saw, and I don't know what year this was. This might have been a few years ago, that you were like hiking volcanoes in Guatemala.
Yeah, that was actually this off season. So when I got the call to join the Battlehawks during this last draft, I was in El Salvador and Guatemala with some of my buddies, just like some of my kicking buddies from our gym. I had a friend that was like, hey, like I had an Airbnb that fell through. Like, what are the odds you want to come out here? And I was kind of like, yeah, my schedule's kind of free. So ended up going out there. But yeah, I just love kind of being able to travel and just do random things. I like to go on a lot of side quests, and that's kind of always been a running joke with like my family and my friends is you never really know where I am or like where my parents are. A lot of times people will be like, oh, like what are your parents up to? And I have to go on my Find My Friends app, be like, looks like they're in South Carolina, or looks like they're in Hawaii. They're just all over the place.
That's awesome.
Does Coach Ricky Prohl know where you are at all times? He should know.
He does now.
He has the Find My Punter app.
Exactly, yeah. I hope he doesn't have to use it very much, because hopefully we haven't been punting too much.
We're talking with punter Ryan Sanborn of the Battlehawks. Again, they play on Saturday afternoon at the Dome. So, I mean, this is a different brand of football than, playing collegiate, playing, in the NFL. What about UFL do you really like? Because it is a different league, and it is still a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, kind of my background with school is I'm a huge data analytics nerd. And so being able to see how all of these new rules affect the game has been really cool for me. Obviously, aside from punting, we've also been doing the new kickoff rules. And with that, we've had a lot of success kind of trying new configurations on the tee, trying to hit screwballs for returners, trying to get extra guys down in coverage. So for me, just kind of seeing the way that the game adapts based on the new rules has been really cool, and then trying to put our own spin on it, kind of do some research into the new rules and kind of how can we take advantage of it more than other teams.
So how is it different for and I know they're two completely different things, even though you're using your leg, but to be a kicker versus being a punter, how different, are the workouts really for the two different, positions?
I would say at the base of it, it's very similar. I mean, you want to have that explosive leg movements. You want to be doing your plyometrics and your lower body strength exercises. I think the biggest difference just comes down to the technique of it. I think punting is a lot more linear because you're kind of facing your target when you're punting, whereas kicking, it's a lot more kind of horizontal movements where you're kind of rotating your hips through. It's like a very rotational movement. So I think if you ask most people, if you ask the kicker, they'd say they'd be able to punt. And if you ask the punter, they'd say they'd be able to kick. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where if you haven't been doing it for a while at a high level, you probably won't always have that trust to be able to just get thrown in there.
Well, with your athletic ability playing all sports, how did you decide to go into punting/kicking? Was it soccer? Was it something else? I mean, with you being a baseball player, I don't know if I thought you'd play a different position on the football field.
Yeah, I mean, I'd played soccer growing up, and actually the first time I tried out for football, they were kind of like, all right, we need someone to be our kicker, and they just lined us all up on a baseball. Telling the story, because she said I just kicked it right over the backstop on the first try. And so that was kind of how I got started, just having that kind of multidimensional, being a multi-sport athlete. Obviously stuck with it for a long time. I've been kicking since 7th grade. The high school I went to actually was a pretty small school, so I ended up playing quarterback and linebacker for our team just because we had so little guys. But I always kind of knew in the back of my head, I was a much better kicker than I was a quarterback or a baseball player. So figured I'd stick around with that, and I think it's going to pay it off.
I don't think kickers get the respect they deserve, but are they getting more of it now that guys again, we're talking primarily field goal kickers here. They are regularly, and I know that in practice you're able to hit at 65 yards, but in a game situation, it is not unusual for guys to hit 60 plus in a game, and it happens all the time now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a bit of the evolution of the sport. I mean, you kind of look at some of the kickers today. These guys aren't just the kickers of past, where it's the scrawny guy that was too small to play another position, so you just stuck him out there. I mean, the kickers that you have today they go through the same workouts as everybody else. They're moving weight. They're training to be an athlete, and I think that kind of shows. I mean, average weight of kickers is going up. Average weight of punters is going up. The ball's flying off the foot. I mean, people have just really kind of gotten it down to a science of like, hey, like maybe if I am stronger, I can kick the ball farther. And I think you kind of see that really showing up in the league today.
Hey, Ryan, I did want to ask you, because last week the Battlehawks celebrated the greatest show on turf. Obviously, you guys play in that dome. I grew up going to those games, absolutely taking for granted Azakim and Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt. How was that celebration, and had you met any of those guys before?
I really haven't met too many of them. My mom was a huge Marshall Faulk fan because she went to San Diego State back in the day, so she would always tell us stories about him and how the Aztecs were so good when they were out there. But, yeah, I mean, I used to play Madden growing up and always had Kurt Warner as a quarterback on my ultimate team and had a bunch of the other guys that were out there as well. So that was pretty cool to just see them all back together and seeing the city be able to celebrate it.
You're from San Diego, so I assume you grew up a Chargers fan?
I did grow up a Chargers fan, yes, just about until they moved.
Yeah, so when they moved, because as you know here, we lost the Rams, and it was a very, very big deal, and people were extremely angry at Stan Kroenke. What was that like there for you, being a fan of the Chargers when they left?
It was a lot of the same thing. Just kind of like a little bit upset because obviously you like having the team in your city, and I think that was about the time where I started training with some NFL guys. So I kind of just rotated my fandom of the Chargers to kind of whoever I was training with at the time, and just kind of started rooting for kickers and punters. So yeah, I was working with Jason Myers a lot, who's the kicker out with the Seahawks now, and I think he was with the Jets back in the day. So I was a Jets fan for a little bit, and then I had one of my punter friends, Jake Bailey, who's with the Patriots. So I was rooting for the Patriots, and I think now kind of you go through college and you have guys on a whole bunch of different teams. It's a little easier to be like, okay, like I can root for this team and this team and this team. But in the back of your mind, like, yeah, I just kind of want to see my friends succeed and do well.
All right. I'll tell you what, stay homeless when it comes to being a fan of an NFL team, because all it's going to do is disappoint you. You know, you just trust me on that. We appreciate you. Good luck this weekend. Good luck on Saturday. Ryan Sanborn, it was really a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thanks for having me on.
That is Battlehawks punter Ryan Sanborn. And again, the team plays this weekend at the Dome, 2:00. And we are looking forward to that game as well. They're 5-2 on the season. Battlehawks continue to roll. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Because we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see lots of lawyers' ads. Most seem to be bragging on results, but are they true or misleading? For example, in some cases, a firm may try a case even though the at-fault party has no lawyer, then brag in the ad about their results. My son Matt got one for nearly $50 million, but we never collected one dime. Some lawyers may say they got a result even though they were sitting second chair at a firm like mine, and even though they had little to do with it. Happens all the time. All that glitters is not gold. At Morgan & Morgan, our results are real. Visit forthepeople.com and go to Settlements and Verdicts to see for yourself what your case may be worth before you hire a law firm. Do your homework. Fact check. It's easy and too important not to. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're struggling to hear conversations, TV, or the people you love, now there's an easier, more affordable solution without spending thousands. Audien Hearing makes high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98 with free shipping and dedicated one-on-one support in the comfort of your own home. No doctor's offices, no pressure. Clearer hearing delivered right to your door. Join over 1 million happy customers hearing life more clearly. Visit audienhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, when you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of audiology. And with us right now, Dr. Colleen Bosler. Dr. Bosler, what are some of the signs of hearing loss?
Well, it's a number of things. Sometimes loved ones notice a person asking others to repeat themselves, or the television is too loud. What people tend to notice first with hearing loss is the loss of clarity. They can hear people talking, but they cannot always understand what's being said. That's because the hearing loss can cause you to miss certain consonant sounds, and those consonant sounds give us the detail to the word. A hearing aid can help bring back those details and give you a sense of clarity that you're missing.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 locations in the greater St. Louis area. Call for an appointment, 636-441-7470. Online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
The summer heat and humidity will be here soon. Is your air conditioner ready? This is Corey with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. If your cooling system hasn't been checked to be ready for the warm weather, call Air Comfort Service. AC checks keep your equipment operating at maximum efficiency, prevent repairs, and extend the life of your equipment. For every AC clean and check booked in April, we'll donate a bag of pet food to Open Door Animal Sanctuary in House Springs. Stay in your comfort zone with a cooling system check from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Working hard but still falling behind? Learn how real estate investing can help you build income and move forward with purpose. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
A century strong. The voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
So you know what that sounds like to me?
Baseball?
It sounds like baseball.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's an you hear that? Crack of the bat?
That was a crack.
Yeah. Well, do you know what's going on here? Obviously a baseball game, number one. But something special about a baseball game that took place last night with the Cincinnati Reds AAA affiliate, the Louisville Bats.
Louisville Bats.
Louisville. Remember Louisville used to be the home of the Cardinals, the minor league team? Now it's Memphis. They hosted a thing called Nothing Night.
Okay.
And so what they did was they literally had no other sound. It was just the game. And they called it Nothing Night, the game featuring baseball in its purest form. So for one night at the ballpark, all on-field promotions, video board stuff, outside music, ad reads, didn't do it.
So they didn't tell the Oregon guy because he was there.
The Oregon guy was there. You could hear him in the background.
Yeah,
but they didn't do any of the other stuff.
Like
no
music.
Yeah,
because there's the DJ music, the walk-up songs, on-field promotions. I like that. Okay, as someone, gosh, this is so embarrassing. I've never been to spring training, and I feel like not even a real St. Louisan. You've been to spring training.
Yeah, but
does it?
I wouldn't have if it weren't for work. I probably would never have gone.
Okay. So we need to go, and again, I think it's time to start our campaign for next year because you can never be too prepared. That we need to send the Chris and Amy show to spring training. But is this what spring training sounds like, or do they have DJ music and everything?
No, they have music. It's not the same kind of operation that you see at Busch Stadium because they've got a whole schedule of events and, promotions and all kinds of stuff.
Do they have shuffle the hat, like where you have to put the ball under the hat?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. But I do know that. So I think it's cool to have nights like that. But when you see it and hear it, we always say that baseball games are too busy. There's too much going on. There's too much stimulus.
It's hard to find the score. I have a hard time finding the score at Busch Stadium now.
Well, there are a lot of screens.
There's a lot of screens.
However, I think it's cool once. But after experiencing it or seeing it, I don't think I'd want to do it all the time. Because I think if you're sitting there for 2 hours, 45 minutes, and it's just silent most of the time, except for the sound on the field, I think it'd probably really get tiring. It'd almost lull you to sleep in a way.
Yeah. There's a fine line, right, between overstimulation, or I should say just a little slow, and when I went to a Brooklyn Nets game. Is that what they are, the Brooklyn Nets?
Yes.
I went to that game. They have music playing while the play's going on.
Yeah, as they're coming up the floor. Yeah.
No, while they're playing.
Yeah, as they're coming up the floor with the ball. They do it all the time.
I've never seen that before. In hockey, the music stops when you drop the puck.
I don't think they do it at Busch Stadium because now it's like background noise to me, which I almost block out. So you tell me if they do it at Cardinals games because I'm not. Okay. I can't think of it right now. But at White Sox games, they would play music between every pitch. Pitch comes in, hits the glove, they'd play something. And I don't necessarily mean organ music. It would just be like a couple of seconds of a song or a sound effect or something. Every single pitch, there's some kind of sound that comes out of the speakers.
So there's a strike, and then the pitcher's regrouping, and the organ goes bloop.
Something, or like a clap, 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 clap kind of thing.
I'm pretty sure Busch Stadium does that.
Do they between every single pitch? Like again, I'm used to 10 years of that every single night, so I kind of blocked it out, and now I don't notice it anymore.
I don't think it's every pitch.
But certain pitches, they don't wait between batters.
Or if the count is now 3-2, maybe there's like a suspenseful sort of sound or something like that, or 2 outs. Like there's always something. Okay, not always, just not every pitch, but there's a lot of times. Yeah.
So when I'm telling you, I'm not exaggerating. When I say every single pitch, I mean every single pitch.
Maybe that's the problem.
So anyway, Cardinals are back in town tomorrow, and you can listen for yourself and report back to me. They've got the Royals coming into town. But first things first, this afternoon, 2:05 first pitch right here on KMOX. And speaking of baseball, it is rivalry week. Did you know that? Yes, in Major League Baseball, rivalry week. And FanDuel is introducing rivalry weekend bonus blasts. You can bet on a home run this Friday, that's tomorrow, and get bonus bets for every home run that player's team hits all weekend. So whether you're backing a player on your favorite team or you're fading your rivals like those dirty people in Kansas City, there are more ways right now to get in on the action, and you can do it all with FanDuel. FanDuel I've been telling you about for months. I love the app. You're going to love it too. It's really easy to use. All the information you need is there to make your informed wagers. FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started if you haven't done it yet. FanDuel.com/Missouri. FanDuel, your home for home runs. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Must apply bonus blasts token. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Before YouTube DIY videos, before skip ad, before don't forget to like and subscribe, there was KMOX. And this Saturday, we're still at your service. At 8, the Garden Hotline with Michelle Reeser-West, sponsored by Chesterfield Valley Nursery. At 11, the Home Improvement Show with Rich Orris, sponsored by Mosby Building Arts. So, skip the videos and get it done right. KMOX is at your service, starting Saturday at 8.
Spring is sprung, and big savings are in full bloom bloom at Menards. Visit Menards Garden Center for everything you need to get your garden growing. Choose from hundreds of beautiful, colorful flowers, lush trees and shrubs, and everything in between. Menards Garden Center is back in bloom. Stop in today to get your garden on. Check out fresh deals happening now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Stan Musial, he missed a season in his prime to serve his country in the Navy.
Honor a legend on Saturday, May 16th when the Cardinals face the Kansas City Royals. Fans can secure a Stan Musial military bobblehead presented by Coca-Cola and Deerbirds. This patriotic collectible celebrates Stan's Hall of Fame career and his service to our country. A true symbol of character on and off the field. A tribute worth displaying and remembering. Don't miss it. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Some Sundays are made for the water. Sunday, May 17th, as the Cardinals take on the Kansas City Royals, make it a ballpark day too. That day, you can score a Cardinals boat tote presented by Coca-Cola and Walmart. A classic summer bag that fits right in from the dock to the dugout. It's ready for long weekends, sunny afternoons, and whatever plans you have next. Get tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
69 degrees, sunny and pleasant today, nice. A high of 76. Tonight, mainly clear, maybe a thunderstorm towards morning, a low of 55.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Ready for a fresh start? The Excel Center in St. Louis is here to help you earn your high school diploma, tuition-free and on your schedule. With convenient locations in downtown St. Louis and Florissant, you can learn at your pace, with support every step of the way. Need childcare, career coaching, flexible classes? We've got you covered. Registration is now open. Don't wait to take the next step toward your future. Visit excel.mersgoodwill.org to enroll today. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX. Now, Chris and Amy visit with the KMOX newsroom.
Well, now we welcome in Sean Malone. As we mentioned earlier, the official release of the mayor's plan to spend the Rams settlement money took place at 9 a.m. this morning, and Sean was there. We were kind of discussing the different ways the money was purportedly going to be spent. Sean, thank you for joining us. And what did you hear from this press conference this morning with the mayor?
Yeah, so we heard the latest plan on how the city is intending to spend the Rams settlement money. And essentially, the money is being broken up into three categories. I guess four categories. I'll get to the fourth in a second. But in terms of money being expensed, it's three categories. Funds to invest in North St. Louis. And of the $110 million towards that pot, $79 million is going towards long-term tornado recovery funds. So that's going to try to help rebuild parts of North City that were devastated from the tornado. It's the one-year anniversary of that tornado coming up on Saturday. Another bucket is the citywide infrastructure, and $30 million of that is going towards the water division and the water infrastructure. Public infrastructure in general, another $30 million, and vacancy reduction, another $5 million. And then revitalizing downtown, which was kind of the whole intent with why the city got this money in the first place. It was to try to replace the revenue that the St. Louis Rams used to bring to the city and to downtown. $55 million is going there for all sorts of different things, such as infrastructure, retail corridors, tourism, event attractions. There's a small bit of money for that as well. And then there is that fourth kind of category where $25 million is being set aside for reserves. Essentially another rainy day fund. If the city has another sort of disaster at some point in the future, there is more money that they're still sitting on that they could use that money towards.
What was that very, very first bucket before the $79 million, Sean?
It was the 110 for North Side, right? And 79 million of the 110?
Of that, yes, 79 of the 110 is going specifically towards tornado recovery. The other 31 million is going towards the North St. Louis Neighborhood Plan Implementation Fund, just to help revitalize North City in general, not just things related to the tornado.
So with all of this laid out, I know that it's pretty similar to what they suggested or what we heard was going to be suggested, right? No major differences?
Yeah, from what was suggested. But if you recall back last year, when the plan was initially put forward and then failed on the floor of the Board of Aldermen when it could not garner enough support, there was a lot more money being spread out because there wasn't such a focus on that money had to go towards the tornado. The tornado hadn't hit at that point. So, the tornado is taking a lot of, I don't want to say money away from this, but it is the largest of all the pots, just the tornado recovery. Just if you put aside the rest of the North St. Louis neighborhood implementation plan, 79 million for the tornado, 65 million for citywide infrastructure, 55 million for downtown, and 25 million for reserves. So in terms of tornado recovery, where it stacks on the priority, it's the top priority here in terms of where the money is going with this RAM settlement funds.
And Sean, I know there had been promises from the business community that they would match whatever the city put toward downtown. So with 55 million proposed for downtown St. Louis, is it understood the business community would still match that?
That's sort of the understanding. I say sort of because it wasn't entirely clear from Greater St. Louis Inc. CEO Ron Kitchens when I asked him if they were still committed to that one-to-one match that was outright expressed when the previous bill was first introduced. He said that is going to happen, but then we tried to get some clarification on, okay, hang on, is this like dollar for dollar investment into these funds, or is that match going to be coming from, if you start revitalizing downtown, then these events might start coming towards downtown? And then he said, yeah, it's kind of a bit of both. And, he said it's also not necessarily just a one-to-one match. If you factor those things in as well, the business and events that could come to downtown if it starts to become revitalized, that it could be up to 3-to-1 for a match. So we'll be following that moving forward. What exactly that match looks like if this does pass and move forward is how much money is going into these different subcategories within the downtown revitalization fund. Some of them are strategic major capital projects, infrastructure downtown, the riverfront fund, so stuff specific to the riverfront, retail corridor programs. So it'll be interesting to see, okay, how much of this is just, yes, it's going to attract business, and how much of this is actually, here's money dollar for dollar we're matching, putting into this fund. So instead of having $15 million for the downtown infrastructure fund, it then becomes $30 million because it was a one-for-one match.
Well, it's a pretty big detail, right? I mean, that changes a lot. There's a huge difference between if you invest $100 million in downtown, we're going to give you dollar for dollar $100 million more in investment versus, well, this event might come which could bring in $20 million. So there's 20 there. That's a.
Well, and if you go even further, Ranji, in terms of whether to call it, I guess, money left on the table with the original promise from Greater St. Louis Inc. back last year when they were still figuring out with last year's plan how much to put where. Greater St. Louis Inc. was promising a 2-to-1 match if they if the city hit that number you mentioned, $100 million. So, yeah, it'll be really curious to see if they're still getting that 1-to-1 match in terms of actual dollars put into these programs, or if it's something more close to, yeah, we're putting some money in, but some of it you're going to see because the business will come. If you build it, they will come.
That seems like a kind of a cop-out. That's not matching. Yeah, it really does. That's not matching, saying, well...
It's not matching to the extent the previous promise was, for sure, of, yes, you put money into these funds, we will put equal money into these funds. He didn't go as far as to make it clear that's what it's going to be.
Okay. So the mayor proposed this, and initially we heard that the president of the Board of Aldermen, Megan Green, was in support of it. Are those the two supporters right now? Have you heard from other members of the Board of Aldermen?
I have not spoken with other members of the Board of Aldermen about this yet, but I did ask President Green, who, if you recall last year, it was her amendment in committee to the RAM Settlement Fund bill that sank the coalition around the bill that was formed. And Eventually, she just shut down debate on the Board of Aldermen. They resumed the next day. A chaotic scene where that bill from last year just seemingly went up in flames. I asked her if there is consensus around this bill, and she didn't outright commit to say, yes, it is ready to go as it is, but she did express a lot of confidence that they can get to that point where there is enough consensus that this bill will pass. She also said there could be some minor tweaks to it. She didn't commit to keeping this bill exactly as is, and that's not always the case, that a bill is introduced and it passes and the text is exactly the same. So I'll be curious to see if there are any minor changes that are made to satisfy people that maybe are on the fence with whether or not they'll vote for this, and their vote might be needed for passage.
So what is the next step here?
Well, the next step, this will be officially getting its first reading in front of the Board of Aldermen on Friday morning, tomorrow morning. From there, it'll go to committee, where then it will be debated and amendments can be made. And then it'll, if passed out of committee, return before the full Board of Aldermen. And we'll see if this time around, if they can get something finalized and passed, or if we're headed to a big fight like we were a year ago. One thing I will note, when the Board of Aldermen was setting up their rules for this new session, which started a few weeks ago, there were Alderman Tom Oldenburg and a couple other alders were trying to, raise the bar on the votes needed in order to pass anything related to how the Rams settlement funds will be expended. Normally, because there's 14 board members and the president, that makes 15 total votes. Normally, a bill will pass with 8 votes, 8 aye votes. They were trying to get it to 9. So that tells me that there's at least a small segment of people that aren't happy with what they were hearing was going into the bill, one way or another, whether they wanted more money here or there, or thought it was this priority was not being adhered to enough. And I'm curious if those people can form a coalition large enough to maybe force some action as to whether or not there needs to be a concession made. But clearly there was an effort to try to raise the bar to a 9th aye vote being needed in order to pass any legislation regarding the Rams settlement money. So there is some, at least from that, a resistance. This isn't looking like something that's going to be just passed unanimously by the Board of Aldermen.
It's interesting because it is a lot of money, $250 million. It's a windfall, but it also isn't at the same time, because we've talked about the needs of the water infrastructure here in St. Louis and
the need for a second arch.
The need for a second arch to fit directly underneath the first
the other
one.
Yeah.
But I mean, the water alone, the city said, well, we have $700 million worth of repairs and work that we need to do. And that's from the Public Utilities Director. So there's $700 million of projects on water alone. So again, when we talk about how much money this is, it is a lot, and it's a good that millions are going to the water infrastructure, but that's how far behind we are in just that area.
And that's the thing. It's in terms of what the city needs to cover all the problems, just focusing on the problems that are facing the city that they are putting money towards with this Rams settlement bill. North City with the tornado recovery, the damage has been estimated to be in the billions of dollars. That $79 million that they're allocating towards it, that'll help. But I mean, that's going to be a very small drop in the bucket in terms of generating the money needed for a true recovery that North City needs after the tornado. You mentioned the water division, how short they are. I'm sure downtown St. Louis probably could use a lot more than just $15 million, setting aside any potential one-to-one match from Greater St. Louis Inc., to repair some of the infrastructure downtown. There's a lot of problems that this bill is trying to address, but they can only do so much. They're only helping. I don't think that anyone should really look at this bill as, yes, this money allocated will solve these problems.
Yeah, and that's what we've been talking about, that, of course, the money helps, but there's just so much that needs to be done, and there isn't enough to go around North Side, downtown, everything else we need done.
Well, and Sean, I guess one question would be, let's say everything is hunky-dory and the Board of Aldermen passes this bill and said, yes, this is what we're going to do. Doesn't the city still have to wait on this lawsuit from the Police Board of Commissioners that said, no, you have to include the Rams settlement money in the general revenue umbrella so that the police can still get I believe it would be 23% of that.
As of this moment, no, they don't have to wait because there's nothing that's forcing them to wait. But it would be interesting to see if at some point we get to that point. Like you said, everything's hunky-dory. The bill gets passed, signed into law, programs are ready to go, which some of these funds where the money is going are for programs already up and running, so they could begin to get expensed quickly. Others will certainly take some time. But let's say they're rearing and ready to go to spend this money. Does the Board of Police Commissioners turn around and ask for a temporary restraining order barring the city from spending this money because they need to find out whether or not they've been entitled to it this year and this past year as well? This past year, they were under control of the Board of Police Commissioners. They could certainly turn around and say, hang on, that money counted as general revenue last year as well. So we deserve some of that money to kind of retroactively from the year before. So it'll be interesting to see how far the Board of Police Commissioners, if this Rams money does get planned to be spent in all these different buckets, how far they're willing to take the fight to get some of it for themselves.
Sean Malone, as always, we appreciate your reporting. Thank you for being with us today.
Anytime, guys. Thank you.
Sean Malone from the KMOX newsroom, but not this time. He was actually on site. And we are going to be talking with Mayor Kara Spencer tomorrow. She is going to join the show, scheduled to be here at 11 o'clock tomorrow, so we can talk about tornado recovery. We are approaching the 1-year anniversary of that storm, which is on Saturday. And you will want to tune in tonight, starting at 8 o'clock, from 8 until 10. KMOX has put together a really nice retrospective on that storm, what it meant, what happens moving forward. You will want to listen to that. The entire newsroom worked on it. 8 to 10 tonight on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
In 1991, John and Cindy Morelli started Morelli Tuck Pointing. As of today, they've won just about every award possible for the tuck pointing business. The BBB Torch Award, the Next Door Neighborhood Fave Award, and an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. For homeowners, this is a great time to get a free inspection of your basement, your brick or stone fireplace, your garage interior, your porch, and maybe even your walkway. Indoor tuck pointing can be started now. Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. My wife Beth and I have used Morelli Tuck Pointing to work on 2 of our homes now over the last 25 years. We have found the Morelli bids to be fair, their crews are very polite, and they clean up after themselves. But most importantly, their work is beautiful. Family owned and operated since 1991. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. This season, we're continuing a limited spring opportunity, offering select enhancements designed to elevate your home and your experience. From a finished basement recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades, or flexible options like design credits or closing cost savings. These offers are available in select communities for a limited time. Visit LombardoHomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
Cards and Cubs. The rivalry returns to Busch May 29th. KMOX kicks off the weekend early when Tom Ackerman hosts a Redbird Roundtable featuring Ossie Smith, Al Raboski, and Matt Adams Thursday, May 28th at the Beer Garden at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. We're talking ball, enjoying a cold beer, and celebrating one of baseball's best rivalries. The doors open at 4:30. The Redbird Roundtable, Thursday, May 28th. Full event details are at KMOX.com.
I never thought of myself as the type to settle down. Never knew where the team's next lunch was coming from. But then I met you, Easy Cater.
Workplaces everywhere are saying, I do want delicious food at work. And they're ordering from beloved restaurants with Easy Cater.
You were reliable. You had great options for every budget, even when marketing ops did keto again. We got through that together. With you, it's just so easy. Easy Cater, will you keep showing up at my workplace forever?
Find love at first lunch. Order at easycater.com.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This Memorial Day, Artistic Decks is honoring the season with rollback pricing. Precision craftsmanship meets old school American value to help you save big. Quality you can trust. Call 314-280-0821. Artistic Decks, making dreams affordable.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules.
Chris Ranji, Amy Marks Scores. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Amy.
Yes.
I don't know what you got for me, but I got something for you.
Okay.
All right. Did you see the story about the sheriff's department?
Your sheriff?
Our sheriff. Well, he's not my sheriff. Well, he is my sheriff. The department is not my sheriff's department because they let him go.
Okay.
They let Alfred Montgomery go.
Yeah, that's your
he's out.
sheriff.
Well, they didn't let him go.
He's in jail.
Judge ruled he had to go. So there's
they let him go.
That's a little bit of a difference.
We're going to let you go to jail.
So the St. Louis Sheriff's Department might be taking over the Metrolink security from the police department. So I have a question. I don't know how anything works. So if they don't have the manpower to transport prisoners to hospital appointments, how do they have the manpower to take care of security on the Metrolink?
I think they didn't have the manpower under Sheriff Montgomery. I didn't think it was manpower. I thought that they had too much stuff. They had new outfits, they had new badges, they had new golf carts.
Yes, but they said it wasn't in their purview to take prisoners to and from medical stuff.
I think he just didn't
because they didn't have the man, and they said they were understaffed. Remember?
Yeah, but they also were picking up Sheriff Alfred Montgomery's kids from school.
Right.
So that guy's gone. Now that guy can work at the Metrolink.
So my understanding is, just based on all the information we now have, the way I take this is they just didn't want to. It's not that they couldn't. I mean, we could take the prisoners to and from medical appointments, but we don't feel like it.
That's why they're like, we'll do it if you give us new golf carts. We'll do it if you give us new SUVs to go across the street. I still don't understand that at all. They just had to walk. Although I do think there is an element of danger and flair if you are transporting prisoners via golf cart.
Yeah, because you would have to restrain them
really
somehow.
Keep an eye on them.
Because you don't have that door that only opens from the outside.
You don't have a door, period.
Right, so you'd have to handcuff them to each of the posts of the roof of the car.
Or just one. I mean, I think handcuffing one.
Well, but what if he falls out? You can't be dragging him down the street.
Well, I think that's an incentive to stay in your seat.
Well, you would think so, but
keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle. We know this.
Amy,
what?
If you're fighting to escape, you'll do anything to get out of that car.
That's the lesson. Don't fight to escape. Let them drive you across the street in your golf cart.
You can't you can't predict what a person who's been arrested is going to do. Could be anything.
Which is why the golf cart adds an element of surprise.
Did you miss any of this greatness today?
I was here the whole time.
Did you hear it but like to hear it again? I know a place you can go. KMOX.com or the Odyssey app. All the podcasts of the interviews, segments, show, all of it is right there for you at your thumb tip. And you can...
Weird. Why is that weird?
You tap on it and listen, baby, with your thumb. And then come back tomorrow, 9 o'clock. We're going to do this whole thing over again with Hancock and Kelly. We'll start the show. Mayor Kara Spencer will be on the show at 11 o'clock tomorrow on 104.1 FM KMOX. Next, it's the Gas House Gang with Bernie Miklasz and me. We'll talk Cardinals baseball.
Is it gigawatts or gigawatts?
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by Ethos.